Gaming news today is sadly about Xbox layoffs, and my video about it doesn't even actually cover all of it. More has happened since I hit record. If you haven't watched my video yet, I basically argue that this is devastating for the gaming world, the gaming culture, the gaming economy, the market itself. Basically just losing talent, losing games, losing studios for no reason other than the fact that Microsoft spent a bunch of money. And now they need to make it back. And we've got more reports coming in of other games getting canceled. Romero's game has been canceled. They were publishing, I guess, and so the studio is now, from what I'm hearing, they're done. People have been laid off. We're hearing aspects of Xbox's quality and stuff. I mean, it's so far reaching. I'm a little flustered because I'm trying to capture all of the information. I even had somebody that I trust this morning tell me that basically people didn't even really know what was going on. There was management that managers didn't even know who was being let go. It's like managers didn't even know what was going on. Just widespread, utter destruction of a workforce, just sort of across the board. And then we're hearing rumors that it's not even done yet. We've also got leaks coming in from Sneakers SO, Sneaker SO, and Jason Schreier has confirmed some of that. He says that Sneaker's comments about the ZeniMax game can be corroborated. So we'll be taking a look at that. I've never made a video like that in my entire career. I've never made a video where like I hit the button, wanted to talk about it, and just went for 22 straight minutes uncut. And things just started coming to me as I was talking about it. You know, are these games literally being canceled because they were suddenly tasked with, well, this needs to land on PlayStation as well? And they were like, we're not even set up for that. And then they get cut for that reason. We're hearing from Sneakers that the games are basically do or die. The games that have not been canceled are do or die. And people in my chat are saying Sneaker has been spot on with everything that they've leaked prior to now. The scathing thing that I threw into the Discord this morning from Sneaker is this. We just take a look at this here just very quickly in the show open, and I'll get to thanking people for members in just a second. I wanted to have like some semblance of a proper show open. Do me a favor if you're watching, smash like, because Haseo, you are going crazy, and I do want to thank you in just a moment. If you guys keep going crazy with those members, man, let's have a big week. Let's have a bounce back week. Let's have a good 4th of July weekend. We'll do a stretch goal stream on Saturday if we can muster it. But this is what's being said. The contingency plan for projects that are getting it out of the other end of this is to supplement the loss of manpower and experience by training management of all levels on proper applications of Copilot or ChatGPT. Videos on how to prompt. This is basically, what is this, like learning models, LLMs, for assets and new potential workflows are being produced as we speak. In layman's terms, the expectations is that surviving projects will come out on timetables now at lower budget levels and at quality levels that were established before the cuts. Also, this is not the last round of layoffs for Xbox Game Studios by a long shot. Large language models, thank you. Large language models. Based on the convos I've had, I think the future of Xbox overall is likely a combination of a handful of teams at the tier of Blizzard, COD, and Minecraft, with a slow bleed of every other team in studios slowly dying off as layoffs and budget cuts reduce everything as time marches forward. This is what I said in my video. I said, well, what are we going to be looking at here in a couple of years? You're basically just like the Call of Duty Minecraft King Mobile developer. What was the frickin' point of all of this? What was the point? You bought all these studios, you bought all this property just so you could kill it. You suck at gaming, so you're going to damage gaming from the outside. Like, this is so irritating. They've achieved nothing but destruction and damage. The games that have come to market that people want to give them credit for were already coming to the market. They are such a garbage company. Like, the fact that this is even a possibility, I mean, Sneaker is very reliable. The fact that it's even a possibility is ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? What was the point? You didn't buy a bunch of property so you could have a bunch of property and try to make money off of said property. You bought a bunch of property and you're basically killing it. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. It's like buying a bunch of movie studios or TV studios and then just killing all the stuff they're working on. It's like, what's the point of this? It doesn't make any sense. When I said they were doing a software strategy, I thought you're going to buy all this stuff and you're going to publish it and you're going to try to make money off of it. They're not even doing that. They're just killing everything. I am at a loss for words at this point. It's like, I knew it was going to be destructive. I knew it was going to be damaging, not at the scale that they're doing it. They're doing it at a scale that doesn't actually make any sense. Like, you're not even saying, well, let's let the games come out and see if we can make money off of them. You're just deciding, well, no, we can't. Now, and a lot of this, I think, is self-inflicted damage because of how they manage studios. The way they manage studios is the problem. Like, you're going to turn around and you're going to blame the studio on Perfect Dark, or you're going to blame the team working on Everwild. I think it's their fault. It's Microsoft's fault. The way they treat studios, the way they treated 343, if they're willing to treat 343, the developers of Halo, the way that they were treated, where half the staff was on a contract and walking out the door every 18 months, and they shipped a pile of crap that the fan base and the fanboys continued to act like was great, that they shipped multiplayer in a beta full of glitches and bugs and they couldn't fix simple problems. Everybody acted like that was okay because fandom is blind, apparently, to flaws. The way they treated 343 and Halo Infinite, they're treating every studio that way, so no wonder games aren't coming out. It's like that meme where he shoots the guy in the chair and he's like, why would you do this? It's like Xbox is literally shooting games in the leg and they're like, why can't you run fast? They're so bad at gaming. I've been saying this for so long, and it always got interpreted and framed and structured as if I was like a pony or I was fanboying. It was like, what? You guys are so bad at this. And the ramifications of their failures are now felt by the market itself and gamers. It's not felt by Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't have to feel an inch of this. They're just going to shut these studios all the way down, cancel the projects, and move on with their AI efforts and their cloud efforts. Do people still think they're making their own hardware, says Eugene, who's making games for them to sell on it? Yeah, at this point, every video I've made about this company is aging like a fine wine. It's like I said earlier this week, proceed with caution. You cannot trust this company. You cannot trust this company. All right. There's your show open. Just turn that into a video. It's 8 minutes of me irritated. Haseo with 3 10 bombs to start the day. Oh my gosh. Haseo is absolutely kicking things off. Purple, you are now losing 30-0, just like that. So let's see what you got. And let's add this here. Haseo on his own decides we're going to roll over into the 300s just to start the day. Thank you. Vedger has a super chat. People seem to not understand that Xbox has their own corporate spending reports, which doesn't report how many second or third-party subtractors are also layered off. So it's more than 9,000, but 9,000 plus. I saw speculation from Ecstasis as it was closer to 20,000 people affected. 20,000 is what Ecstasis was speculating based off of what he was hearing. And thank you, John Lepkowski, for a VIP renewal, 13 months. It's a shame that Xbox is going out like this. Love the content, bro. Thank you. People had the nerve to spend ABK coverage, obfuscating and clouding the issue and attacking people like myself. You are a bunch of frickin' clowns. And then they want to act like if you talk about this and you do receipt pulls and you hold people accountable for terrible claims, they're like, oh yeah, let's make this about a console war. It's about the people that lost their jobs. So shut the frick up. with your fake virtue and your fake care. You cheered for your team to spend a bunch of money because you wanted to win some weird fight and you wanted more games for Game Pass, and you lost. You lost. We all lost. At least some of us didn't lose our credibility. You bunch of frickin' shills. And we're going to act like we're not allowed to do that? That was within this gen. It's not like people are pulling receipts from 20 years ago and you made a bad call. You cheered for consolidation. You cheered for something that has historically done literally the rubble that we're all standing in. The rubble heap that we are all standing in, we all said this was going to happen. This is what happens when you do this level of consolidation. It's nosebleed level money. It's like, you honestly thought they were going to spend $80 billion and like all would be well, and they would just give you a bunch of games and that would be the end of the matter? Yay, I want to fight on Twitter? Jiminy Christmas. The lack of business acumen and intelligence in gaming commentary is embarrassing. And the fact that people always wanted to make it personal. Now you see why Laura's deeply disappointed? Yeah, what a timeline. What a turn of events. Demonizing and attacking a woman who was there at the beginning, who spoke rather frankly and rather fairly about Xbox, and she gets attached by these chuckleheads. Yeah, we're in the find out stage. Lono, you sound bitter. You know what? I actually am. You can actually say that this time. I'm furious. It's so irritating. It's like, this is literally, at some level, this is worse. This is worse than what a lot of us said was going to happen. I gotta call this number back. It's the AC guy. Thank you, TJ, for gifting a member, and Dan for doing a member plus. I just got a stupid answering service. I'm hoping they will do something other than just call. Lono sounds how all gamers should sound. How are you canceling single-player games? Lona, don't forget to count my member. Yeah, Joker Quinn, hang on. Oh, yeah, Joker Quinn, what'd you do? Did you do a single during the premiere? Yeah, Joker Quinn, Han shot first, and so did you. He gifted a single during the premiere, and then I've got one from TJ Love, and then a Dan. Thank you so much, Dan, for doing a member plus. All right, so that's 3 to add to the member battle. So this is now 34. There we go. Otavio Cruz jumping back in at a member plus. Thank you very much. Microsoft just wants to be that company where if you want something, you only have to go to them for it. They did it with Windows PC, and now they're doing it with gaming. Okay, they left a voicemail. Okay. He's headed here. He's headed here. Why is Xbox getting Helldivers? I think that decision's immaterial to what's going on. I mean, I'm excited about that. I've wanted that game to go over there for a while, even though I don't think it's going to result in the best business sense, but we'll see. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I hope it works out for them. Thank you, Hellfire, though, for 33 months, but PlayStation is somehow worse. Yeah, I don't want to... Any of the whataboutisms can take a dadgum walk today. Nobody wants to frickin' hear from you. You know? Nobody wants to hear from you. Take your dumb whataboutisms and take a dadgum walk. Another super chat from Vedger. Give Lono a like, cheer up his day, make him smile. Thank you so much. Could we get 50 more likes? Killer start, by the way, on both platforms. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on the various platforms, we do a talk show like this Monday through Friday, and I know some of you guys only show up for the fireworks, and some of you only show up for like the big lively debates like this. We're trying a new format, and early, just yesterday we had a great debate about refunds and why I think refunds are one of the biggest needs for consumer protection. So check out that video and make sure you're subscribed with the like button hit on this video. Make sure your bell button set to all so you don't miss these discussions, all right? Barrier, thanks for 45 months. At some point, can you dive more into the Sneaker SO info? I think some of it's pretty shocking. Yeah, one sec. ADR Zone with 5 months says consolidation always leads to layoffs. Yeah, and we had to listen to absolute buffoons who don't understand anything there is to do with business wax eloquent about how this was going to be better for consumers and the employees. I mean, and now if you receipt pull on them, you're console warring and you're attacking and you're being petty. No, we're calling you on your BS and your ignorance, because that's exactly what should happen when people completely speak out of turn as authorities in the market. That's what's supposed to happen. Everybody's a fan of accountability until it hits them on the jaw. And then they're like, well, that's not fair. That's not right. You know, what's not fair and is not right is people having platforms that don't deserve them. Otavio Cruz of the $5 Super Chat says, that's the I told you so most of us didn't want to say, but here we are in a vast ocean of, yeah, no crap, Sherlock. Thank you so much for the $5 Super Chat. And then Politician with a member plus, and then Joker Quinn with another gifted. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 314. Almost 10 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much. Purple, non-existent today in the contest. But PlayStation cancel game. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing whataboutisms today. That's ridiculous. The people saying don't turn this into my team one are the same people that have been on Twitter throwing snarky barbs at PlayStation when they cut developers and jobs are lost. Listen, there's a handful of bad responses to this, okay? There are people that are gleefully celebrating this because, you know, they cheer for one side and they don't like Xbox, right? And Kardoc Ren decides that it's time to get it a little bit closer, and he drops the 10 bomb. We are 1 away from the next milestone. Who is going to secure it? And Dylan does it. Dylan over here on YouTube gifts a single, and he secures the 325. Kardoc Ren, sorry about that. Dylan's just going to swoop in and steal the glory before you could. And I owe 5 members to the YouTube platform. Thank you so much. And the battle continues. It's 40-10. A $10 super chat tip from Predator says, I feel you alone. I'm beyond angry with Rare's fate. Microsoft can frick off. Make trebuchets great again. Right, like, let me say this clearly. If you're celebrating this, like, gleefully, like there's blood in the water for you to just, like, eat up on Twitter, I think that's an embarrassing response to this. This is freaking terrible. And a 10 bomb comes in from Bareth Chosen, and the contest continues to go in YouTube's favor, and Furious Pickle is going to add one more and get us to 336. Thank you so much. Like, that's a terrible response here. This is utter destruction. This is far-reaching devastation to the market itself. Less talent, less studios, less games. You want to receipt pull people and hold them accountable? I'm all for that. I am all for that. You want to call people out for their BS takes during ABK and how they cheered for consolidation and obfuscated the facts and misled the public? You want to receipt pull people? By all means, do that. You should not be gleeful about this. There shouldn't be like mirth in your veins that like 10 to 20,000 people have been laid off. That shouldn't be bringing excitement to you. It's truly freaking terrible. People, somebody said something to me this morning about Rare and like, what have you done to support them? Like, oh, I don't know. I just own Sea of Thieves on like every platform that it's out there, and have very fond memories of GoldenEye and Donkey Kong and their history as a developer. Like, yeah, but you know, what was I supposed to do? I guess like every day tweet about Rare and Sea of Thieves. Like, I've played and spent a good amount of money in Sea of Thieves over the years and covered it. I was one of the more watched streams during their beta way back in the day on Purple. Part of the reason you can't show a lot of support for them is they haven't done anything underneath Microsoft's ownership. Was this real? I don't know. Did he delete it? Somebody called him out about the handheld wars thing, and he said that it didn't happen. And I was like, I literally saw a screenshot. Was it fake? Did people make that up? Or did he delete the tweet? I don't know. I only saw the screenshot. Because I remember seeing the screenshot and thinking, what? Like, what on earth? Yeah, I forgot Killer Instinct. We played Donkey Kong and Killer Instinct on our Super Nintendo all of the time. The black cartridge was... it was hot. It was hot. It was awesome. What am I going to do? Support Rare these days? All the Kinect games. Perfect Dark, Lono. Perfect Dark, my heart hurts. Doc, I remember playing Perfect Dark until my eyes were bleeding. Like, I was at my friend's house. We were up till 2 or 3 in the morning playing some of the co-op missions. We were, like, down in this room. It was like a reverse pyramid. We're, like, down in this room, like, the enemies kept coming. And so I was so excited when they were doing Perfect Dark. And then when they had that simulated gameplay last year, I was a little concerned. I was like, that doesn't look like real gameplay to me. I told people, I said, that looks very simulated. It looks like they're faking us out. If that's what they're going for, it looks awesome. But I consistently called out what I felt like was gameplay that wasn't real. And I got a lot of hate for it. When I said that the Fable gameplay was simulated and not real, I said the same thing about State of Decay. I said the same thing about Perfect Dark. It's so crystal clear that this is what they do. It's always a mirage with Xbox. It's like nothing's real. All their marketing, all their roadmaps, all their showcases, it's just a bunch of nothing. I can't imagine watching anything they've got upcoming, any trailer they've got upcoming, and not think that, yeah, it's a real tweet. Does he not realize that he tweeted that? He tweeted, it was in November of 2024. That's probably why he told that guy it didn't happen. Some guy told Paris he had said something about handheld wars, and Paris said that it didn't happen. And I was like, I literally saw the tweet. What are you talking about? Probably because the guy said that it was a couple of days ago. And Paris is like, no, I didn't say that a couple of days ago. What are you talking about? Here. Just request a community note and link to his own tweet. Just request a community note and link to his own tweet. I mean, that's pretty much the way to do it. I didn't say handheld wars. Are you sure about that? And 2 5 bombs come in from Haseo. Thank you so much. And that's 346. We are now 4 away. Haseo is in here saying, let us get that goal. Lona running late today? What do you mean? I'm live right now. Yes, Lona, you sure did say that about Perfect Dark. I sent you something via DM, not sure if it's real. No, it's real, Doc. No, it's real. Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox on the same day that Gears of War is launching, the 26th of August. No, it's real. Yes, and I have said from the beginning I'm in full support of live service games going to Xbox. It's more players. It's potentially better for the player funnel. I have only questioned the business sense of it. I don't think it's going to be a good return of business. I really hope that the Xbox community proves me wrong. I do. I think they'll vibe with it. I think they'll like it. I hope they do in large enough numbers to justify it, because you now have a studio that has not increased that greatly in size, having to support 2 more versions of the game, because the Series S and the Series X version will almost assuredly be different to certain degrees. So I hope they buy it. I hope I am proven wrong. I don't like if it's only live service, whatever, but we've seen where this leads before, says Eugene. I don't think there's any indication from PlayStation that they will shift from their strategy. The live service strategy is a completely different bucket. Herman Hol has said this numerous times, that the live service approach is different than the tentpole approach. Until they signal a change in strategy to the shareholders, I don't see this as being a shift at all. It's live service games are viewed differently by PlayStation. No, I don't think it'll be on Game Pass, no. What is this? This image? Why does it do that? Why can't I just open the image by clicking open link? It saved the image. I said from the start that Xbox acquiring ABK changes nothing for anyone who is an avid gamer. If anything, it enhances your experience by bringing these games to more platforms and adding value to putting them on Game Pass. As a consumer, we win. So listen, when he said that in 2023, when Paris said that, my disagreement with him is ABK games coming to more platforms. What does he mean by that? ABK was already a multi-plat company. It's not like ABK was making a... What does he mean? Like, ABK was already bringing all those games. Microsoft did not increase the reach of ABK games. Activision Blizzard was a multi-platform company. So the logic of what he's saying isn't even logical. It's like, it's not like they took some small little studio who was only shipping games to one platform and they bought that little studio and said, we're going to put your games in more places. They bought a multi-platform studio, a multi-platform conglomerate of studios, and then continued to make those games multi-platform. So what he's saying is actually factually false. It did not enhance the... Also, the logic of saying it enhances your experience by bringing these games to more platforms. In what universe is your experience enhanced by a game being on more platforms? What? Is my experience enhanced in Returnal when it lands on more platforms? No. I'm excited for other people to play Returnal, but my experience is not enhanced by it landing on more platforms. So the logic is broken at multiple levels in that statement. It's like, number one, Activision Blizzard was already a multi-platform giant, and Microsoft purchased them and then continued to make them a multi-platform giant. And oh, by the way, congratulations on cheering for something. You say, as the consumer, we win. No, actually, Paris, as the consumers, we have lost. We have lost. We have lost games. We have lost studios because of this. There are less games and less studios in the market right now because of this deal. The operational cost of Xbox has become so insanely high that Microsoft has basically said they're going into studios and just gutting 50%. I've been told by somebody in the know that the managers at these companies didn't even know who was being let go. Like, you talk about, how do you even restructure your teams, your strategies, or what you're doing when you don't even know who's being let go? You can't even get advance notice, so you can be like, okay, how are we going to kind of course correct and adapt to this situation? No, the consumers did not win because of ABK. The consumers lost, and a ton of us said the consumers were going to lose. And if getting receipt pulled on what I would consider to be erroneous, illogical statements, if you think getting receipt pulled is getting attacked or am I using your name for clicks, you can absolutely zip it. That is not what anybody's doing. There was ongoing commentary about the ABK deal. There were different opinions on what it would lead to. You got it wrong. Own the fact that you got it wrong instead of turning this into something else. Many of us were looking at a level of acquisition of that scale and said, this will absolutely be bad. It will be bad for the consumers. It will be bad for the developers. It will be bad for the employees. We were right and you were wrong. Wear it. Wear it. Don't turn this into something that it's not. Nobody's console warring and nobody's attacking anybody. Now, if there are people on Twitter doing that, sure, I've already said, I don't think that's the appropriate response to like gleefully celebrate layoffs and to be out here console warring. But the fact of the matter is, there were numerous statements made like this by people like Paris who are very much like on the Xbox side of things, and they very much said things like, oh, this is going to enhance the experience of games coming to more platforms and adding value by putting them on Game Pass. As a consumer, we win, and here we sit, the consumer, we lost. We lost. Putting ABK games on Game Pass doesn't change the equation. People being given the opportunity to spend less money in the industry doesn't change the equation here. We lost. Gamers lost. It doesn't matter where you play or where you hang your hat or what team you cheer for. We lost. And honestly, I don't even want to be like, I told you so, because this is bigger than I thought it was even going to be. I didn't think it was going to be at this scale. And apparently, according to Sneaker SO and others inside, the other people that have inside information, they're not even done. They're not even done. So, you can stuff your thoughts and prayers, is what I say. Imperial Shroom says, just hate to see all the Xbox influencers faking that they feel bad about the layoffs, and I'm too old to pretend they didn't play a large part in this. Haseo with another 5-bomb. Another 5-bomb. Wait. Oh, yeah, Haseo, you hit the goal. You hit the goal. I owe YouTube 10. I'm sorry. I've not been paying attention to this. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a real quick favor. Okay, real quick favor. Smash the heck out of the like button. There is a bunch of you here right now, and we're going to just keep talking about this. We're going to look at the sneaker information here in just a moment, all right? Because it does concern things like Fable. Like Fable, State of Decay. The games that are currently not canceled are actually not safe from what we're hearing. It's do or die. It is do or die. And you know what that means? If these games even come to market, they're probably going to be in pretty piss poor shape. They're probably going to be in pretty piss poor shape. What did I say this year? I'll read the super chats in just a second. What did I keep saying this year? Microsoft's finally getting to that level where the cadence and the quality are actually in line with each other. Like Doom is good. Outer Worlds 2 looks really good. I thought South of Midnight was good. Avowed, not so much, but I felt like the cadence and the quality was getting better. We had the Oblivion remaster, and I was like, okay, here we go. The Gears of War remaster, looking good. Now it's sounding like in order for them to even maintain any semblance of cadence, quality will suffer. Quality will suffer. And that's always been my concern with them, is it's like you are spreading yourself so far and wide. You want your companies to make games for so many platforms. That will affect quality. Remember when we kept having the conversation about exclusivity, and everybody was demonizing exclusivity all of a sudden, and I kept banging on the drum and saying, listen to me, this is not a marriage you want to break up. The marriage of like building a game for a platform, a high quality game comes out. When you build a game for multiple platforms, it inevitably affects the quality and the innovation of the game. We are about to see that in spades. And all these people that cheered for this deal, and all these people that got really upset when I said, I don't know why you're acting like exclusivity is a bad thing. I don't know why you're acting like putting a game on multiple platforms is an automatic win, right? Like you want to end a tweet with end of discussion, and I guess you think that's a compelling argument. But it's like you're about to see the results of this. This is bigger than just acquisition costs and operational costs getting so high that you have to shut studios down and cancel projects because you need ROI and you have to shrink your operational costs on your annual budgets. This is bigger than that. It's going to affect the quality of the games that come out, and I kept telling people that. I was like, listen, right now, if you go to the average studio, and you say, hey, can you make a game for the Switch 2, the PS5? Can you throw in PS5 Pro enhancements, the Series X, the Series S? Oh, yeah, and also the litany of PC combinations that are out there. Can you do that? The average developer is going to be like, yeah, we don't really do that. Nobody's really doing that right now. We don't really have a team equipped with that level of bandwidth and parallel development. I mean, you need people that are familiar with the dev kits of all the various platforms, the constraints of all the various platforms, and then you got to shove the game through that garden hose. That's not a good way to develop games. I've consistently said over and over again that timed exclusivity is a really, really great benefit to everybody. You focus the development for one platform. So when they're making, I don't know, like Ghost of Tsushima, and they're only making it for one platform. Let's just say Ghost of Yotei, actually. Ghost of Yotei just made for PS5, just made with those PS5 Pro enhancements. They're only focusing on one platform. Well, porting that later by Nixxes to PC, that's a better result. Everybody is getting the best version of the game, even though you have to wait for it. And yes, it's not landing on Xbox or the Nintendo Switch, and that's okay because they're doing things with the game that likely wouldn't work on the Switch 2. likely wouldn't work on the Series S. And it's good for your brand to have exclusives. I think there's actually nothing wrong with that. So to me, it's like you guys have been, the people on the other side of these debates, you have been so embarrassingly wrong for the last 5 years. And now we're going to sit in the rubble of destruction of the industry, and we're supposed to just do this virtue signal sadness on Twitter and not talk about the fact that so many of you got this wrong for so long. Like, we're not supposed to talk about that. You're gonna cast everything I say today is gonna be framed and clipped as console warring, hate, targeting, and being unkind. That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. No ownership of being wrong. No admission of getting something wrong. It'll be, well, let's distract from the issues and turn Reforge into a villain. Yeah, I'm the villain. Don't focus on the fact that Microsoft did this. Don't focus on the fact that Xbox did this. I know it's really hard. It's like bile in your mouth to actually be critical of Xbox and actually hold them accountable. It's easier to wail on a content creator that you don't like. I know that's easier. That's like breathing for you buffoons out there. But you would get way more respect from people if you would actually hold them accountable. If you would actually be critical of them. Instead, you're going to fixate on people like me who are calling it what it is, have been calling it what it is since the beginning. You won't talk about the fact that Microsoft did this. You won't talk about the fact that there's a pattern of Microsoft being acidic to creative process. People that don't own when they're wrong, why would you listen to them? Why? I've been wrong plenty of times, and I'll throw it on a thumbnail. I was wrong. I got this wrong. Didn't get that one right. Oh boy, was I wrong about that. $5 super chat tip from Siriu. The best case for a Microsoft purchase is that the studio operates the same. The worst case is the studio is killed. There's no benefit to them owning anything. I said that time and time again. I said this is not additive to the market. These games were already coming to the market. It's not like Microsoft added to the market. They're subtracting from the market. So that you could get games for Game Pass. Like that's what this was. It's like in a perfect world, they would have bought these studios and not disrupted anything. And all these games that were already in development were just going to continue in development and then get delivered to the market. That changes nothing. That doesn't do anything except for people on Game Pass. That's like the only people. Like, in the grand scheme of all of the gamers across the globe, the 20-something million people that are on a day-and-date subscription, because there's about 10 million that are not. They're on Game Pass Core, or they're on newer versions of like the lower level of Game Pass, right? So like 20 million people worldwide were able to get more games on Game Pass. Well, let's all have a standing ovation for that. All these studios and games had to die so that 20 million people could save a buck. Oh my gosh, what a pro-consumer person you are. You want to talk about being anti-consumer, shilling for a corporation and for consolidation. That's anti-consumer. Buy that and put that on a t-shirt. I'm anti-consumer. I cheer for consolidation. I'm anti-consumer. I cheer for mergers and acquisitions that lead to game loss, studio loss, employees getting laid off. If there's anybody who's anti-consumer, it's the people who cheered for this dadgum crap. You're the ones that are anti-consumer, not people who like exclusives. Zubair. Headline. Some people still know how to treat their customers. I'm Michael Scotting it up. Hey, you're anti-consumer. You cheered for consolidation, which historically We have one more page in the history books. One more page of consolidative efforts by giant companies taking things from the consumer. So wear it. Buy the hats, buy the t-shirts. You're anti-consumer, not me. You weren't concerned about the ramifications of $80 billion being spent to consolidate the market. You were concerned about cheering for your brand. And this is your victory. Take the victory laps. Do it. Go live and make the videos and say, you know what? I cheered for this. This is what we all wanted, right? They touched a metaphorical stove today and burned themselves. Lona's trying to tell them that heat existed for years. I'm so mad. I am so mad. I'm not trying to be entertaining. I am so angry. This is genuine irritation. It's, oh my gosh, it's frustrating. Coyote with $5 super chat can only think the amount of Xbox influencers that have misled folks over the years is a big part of why there seems to be so much discord right now. Aaron with 31 months says, what up, Reforge? Honestly, when it comes to Microsoft and Xbox, I'm a little surprised Phil is still around. Phil is still around because he kept them in the fight. He kept them in the fight. I think Satya is looking at him and saying, we still have a foothold in gaming and own some of the biggest property in gaming because of Phil. Like, seriously, think about it. Phil and Satya did not see eye to eye when Phil first got into the position. Satya was primed and ready to kill off the Xbox game division. I think they're probably saying, oh no, Phil kept us in the fight. We have relevancy in one of the biggest markets in the world. They probably are very pleased with Phil. If you look at the history, Phil Spencer is probably considered a champion at Microsoft. I mean it. I'm not saying he's a champion. He's a wordsmith, double-speaking corporate head that I used to like. Not anymore. I used to like Phil. I've not liked him for a long time. I think people would have been quicker to pick up on what he said if they would just listen, and I tried to point that out. But after what he did to Larry in his interview with Destin and how they've handled everything since, I don't like him. He annoys me now. It's like you'll say anything. 5 months ago, he's talking about how Everwild looks great. Sure. Yeah, listen. I watched Asmongold's Gold's video on this. And I'm on record as saying a lot of the times he gets misrepresented. I thought the way that he covered this was pretty bad. I thought it was pretty bad. He immediately jumped to, well, this is good. They're getting rid of all the mid-management Karens out there. I mean, that is just such egregious, sweeping inaccuracy. That is not even remotely true. That's not true. I feel like he should have done a better job of actually looking into what got canceled and why and who is leaving and why. Because losing some of the people like we're seeing like at Rare, we're not losing like mid-management Karens. Like that's not what's going on. Studios getting shut down and projects getting canceled is not like, oh, that's great, this is good. We're getting rid of all like the mid-management Karens that make everything take forever to happen. And he talked about how, like, Twitter is just fine after they got rid of all the staff. And I'm like, it's just fine? Like, the platform runs terribly now. It's overrun with bots. My DMs are flooded every day with bots. Like, that's not exactly the example I would run to. Like, I have liked some of his coverage, and I have liked some of his videos. I thought his coverage of this was bad. I was like, oh my gosh, Zach, what the heck? I think he gets misrepresented a lot. I think he gets attacked a lot, and it's unnecessary. But in this certain situation, I got like halfway through the video, and I'm like, This is horrible coverage, brother. What are you doing? Yeah, he made it look like it was like a DEI cleansing. And I'm like, that's not what this is, man. You should actually zoom out on this and see that this is the 4th time they've done these layoffs, and it has nothing to do with that. No, it has nothing to do with that. Thank you. Stone Spire's going to set one up. I know what he's doing. He's like, boys, we're having a big day. It's now 3:55. He's like, let's get a 20 bomb. Let's get a 20 bomb to the 375. Somebody give this man what he wants. He's so generous and so faithful with those single gifteds. And can we get 30 more likes on the video? So you don't blame this at all on individual studio bad management? Microsoft is the big bad scarecrow? Okay, Blaze, let me say something to you that's going to blow your mind. Microsoft did zero assessment of who was key personnel and who was producing and who wasn't producing. I've been told by someone in the know that there were managers who didn't even know was being fired. Homie, this is just a threshing floor of destruction. This isn't like Microsoft coming in with the bobs and trying to assess what everybody does at the studio and getting rid of the slackers. That is not what this is. If you think that's what this is, I don't know why you're erring on the side of like, well, maybe Microsoft's not the bad guy. I don't even know what to do to respond to that without just insulting you. I don't want to insult you, but good golly, is that uninformed to think that like, this isn't Microsoft. This is just like people that probably deserved to get fired, like the individual studios were bad. Okay, so let me get this straight. You think there's been a consistent lack of progress made on multiple projects under Microsoft's ownership, and it's all the studio's fault. So Halo Infinite, it was 343's fault. These various games that we're hearing about, it's the studio's fault. We're not going to look at Microsoft? Like, go read the autopsy on Halo Infinite and 343 and tell me that this is not a direct relationship between the way that Microsoft manages studios and the way that studios have to operate underneath those constraints. This is a 100% Microsoft is acidic to creative process. This has nothing to do with like, well, the studios suck and they're all bad. Well, every studio under Microsoft's ownership is struggling. Not every, but most. Joker Quinn with a gifted member. Thank you so much. It's $3.56 now. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. And a $5 super chat from Ascetic. Well, it's €5. It says, if anyone was bad for Xbox, it was Nadella as the CEO. His vision for Microsoft, which is AI and subscription first. Cheers, Forge. I appreciate it. Thank you. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know why anybody would err on the side of not blaming Microsoft here. The fact that the games themselves didn't do so great, like Midnight something, Indiana Jones, and even now Doom the Dark Ages, it has something to do with the studios. Okay. We're going to be productive about this, okay? We're going to try and be productive about this. Let's just take the games that you gave as an example, okay? South of Midnight was, I think, artistically creative and cool and innovative, and it was a small game thrown on Game Pass. So similarly to Hi-Fi Rush, that's not a great setup for a game like that, okay? Indiana Jones. I don't know that we have it on good authority that Indiana Jones didn't do well, but again, Indiana Jones was a game thrown on Game Pass and then came to PlayStation later. Doom the Dark Ages, again, it not doing well commercially has nothing to do with the studio doing a bad job. It could have something to do with the fact that they pivoted away from a more classic Doom style of gameplay. They went more in the direction of like melees and like bullet hell versus the more like jet flying in the air that people experienced in Doom Eternal. So there's individual reasons why those games may or may not have performed all that well. But the crazy thing about the examples that you just gave, those are some of the highest quality games that Xbox has shipped this gen. I actually liked Doom the Dark Ages. I heard the criticisms. I actually think the criticisms were fair for the most part, and I didn't like how the game ended. But, like, you're literally talking about some of the higher quality games that they've shipped. Indiana Jones, even though I did not like it, it's not my kind of game, that was a high quality game, dude. What are you talking about? South of Midnight was a perfectly fine game for the studio size and what that game set out to do. And I thought Doom the Dark Ages was totally fine. And it was a very quality game. It was a very good looking game. I don't know why you would be like, oh, it's the studio's fault. No, it's how they position their games in the market. Are you going to say the same thing about Hi-Fi Rush? That would be my question for you. I'm genuinely curious what you think. I'm not trying to like run you out of the chat or be unkind to you. I'm genuinely curious what you think. Hi-Fi Rush, internally, I think Jeff Grubb was the one that said internally they weren't pleased with the sales of Hi-Fi Rush. They shadow dropped that game onto Game Pass and then weren't happy with the sales. It sounds like internally there's a dissonance with respect to how they measure a game's quality and how they measure a game's success. Like, who in the blue frick internally was like, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush didn't sell well enough? Whoever that person was, you should just fire them because they're the idiot. You had a good studio and a good game, and you got rid of them, and you were internally unhappy with the sales of a game that you threw onto a subservice, day and date, shadow dropped, no marketing. It went viral. Everybody was talking about it for like a week, and then it died down. That's understandable. But you should fire that idiot that was like, well, why didn't we get any sales on this game? Let me tell you something, Dave. You shouldn't work here anymore. You don't even seem to understand the industry that you're over. You put the game on Game Pass, you moron. Of course it didn't sell well. Instead of shutting the studio down, fire that guy and put somebody else in charge. You could put a streamer in charge and would have a better understanding of why a game didn't sell well. Jiminy Christmas. Of course, his name is Dave, right on the money. Sorry to all the Daves out there. Anybody who doesn't understand business can even understand that Game Pass affects sales but increases impressions. Right, and if you go all the way back to when Phil Spencer told the public that Game Pass actually increases sales because he was citing Forza Horizon 5, the culture of the platform had not yet changed. The culture of the platform had not yet changed. So, yes, initially, Forza Horizon 5 benefited from Game Pass because like everybody was talking about it. It's probably Xbox's best game this gen. Still. It's probably still their best game. And because it was on Game Pass, everybody was talking about it. You know, everybody's going out and buying it, and it gave it a bump. But over time, people started figuring out, why would I buy a game? What the heck? Like $10 a month? You got to think, this is before all the price hikes. $10 a month, and I don't have to buy any of these games? So slowly but surely, they fostered a culture of non-purchase. And anytime I would say this, I would get called a pony. But it was like, I don't know what you want me to say. You fostered a culture of non-purchase. You basically told people, we're going to make really, really high-level quality games, and you don't have to buy them. And what that does over time is it lulls people into this idea of, like, why would I buy a game? And what that does is you're creating an internal schema, internal headcanon that says games aren't worth purchase. That is a devaluation of the game. Do you remember when Jim Ryan said that he talked to, publishers? And he said all the publishers, and people were like, thought he was saying he spoke to every single publisher. He was speaking within the context of the publishers that he works with, and he's like, I've spoken to all of them, and they think this is value destructive. And Strauss Zelnick said it's value destructive. And Bobby Kotick said it was value destructive. And you don't have to like Bobby Kotick or Strauss Zelnick or Jim Ryan, but these guys were in the positions that they were in because they get results. And they knew. They're like, that is value destructive. You can't do that to your... You can't do that to your property. So Xbox willingly devalues their own games with Game Pass day and date. They have companies like 343 operating under Microsoft's horrible policies with contracts, and then they want to turn around and be like, it's the meme where the guy shoots the guy in the chair and he was like, why would you do this? That's literally what this is. It's like, you sat here and inflicted a devaluation of your own property, you inflicted damage on your own studios, and then you want to turn around and be like, yeah, well, these studios are taking too long to produce, and we're just trying to restructure to maximize operating efficiency, so we got to get rid of these studios and these games. You're the reason that they're all like this. It's like shutting down the Hi-Fi Rush studio all over again. It's like, you did this. How come only the not successful Game Pass complain, but not Claire Obscures? Well, Expedition 33 is a completely different example. That's a false equivalency. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, also went insanely crazy viral on Steam, where people have to buy it. They have to buy it. So, yes, Game Pass didn't do anything to Expedition 33. The game went viral, and people were buying it on PlayStation. People were buying it on Steam. Like, I'm talking about Xbox. Xbox took their own stuff and devalued it. They're like, here's Hi-Fi Rush. Don't have to buy it. Boom. And they just shove it onto Game Pass. And then they turn around and say, oh, it didn't sell well. And then again, if you look at the way they treated 343, that's their boy. That's Halo. So if they're willing to treat Halo the way they did with the contract policy, they're treating all their studios that way. So it stands to reason that the reason Perfect Dark was having the troubles it was having, and the reason Everwild was having the troubles it was having, is because you're operating underneath the corporate structure of Microsoft, which is acidic to creative process. That way you can justify everything despite Game Pass they succeed, so it's possible it's not ultimate detriment to a game. You're shadow boxing. Nobody is saying that Game Pass is the ultimate detriment to a game. You're just straw manning. Nobody said that. You're fighting somebody that's not even in the room right now. What I said was it's value destructive. It fosters a culture of non-purchase. Homie, there's a reason that Xbox always lags behind in total sales. When they're supposed to like a third-party game comes out and you look at the number of sales, Xbox is always lagging behind. Because they have fostered an ecosystem and a culture of non-purchase. Look at the way that people talk on Twitter, and look at the way that people talk in the YouTube comments, and look at the way that people that talk on Reddit. And they always say, waiting for Game Pass, not on Game Pass, skipping, is it coming to Game Pass? They literally trumpeted this for years. We don't have to buy games. Your most ardent fans are sitting on podcasts and Twitter feeds calling PlayStation fans suckers and losers because they're buying games that they can play on Game Pass. It's part of their identity. It's part of their identity. It's like, we don't buy games. They make fun of people buying games. How's that not a culture of non-purchase? AOZ says he can fight me. Game Pass is the ultimate detriment to quality games. Microsoft doesn't understand gaming. They're bad at this. They are. They're not a creative company. That's why we're sitting here right now talking about this. They have a history of failing in this industry, and it all started with Xbox One. Do you remember what happened with Xbox One? Go listen to Laura Fryer talk about Xbox One. Executives and corporate heads got involved, disrupted everything that they had been working on with the 360, and completely sabotaged the entire brand. Xbox has never recovered from that, and that's Microsoft's meddling is what did it. They've been living underneath the shadow of that meddling ever since. They've never recovered. I truly think that everything Phil has tried to do has been sabotaged by the way that Microsoft operates. I got to thank the people. PWH now with a $5 super chat tip. Loving the energy and passion being displayed. Thank you for speaking the truth and always holding these companies accountable. In 24 months from my man Brooklyn says, oh, frick, I'm a red badge. Let's go. 24 months. Thank you. And another member, light renewal from Chloe. 9 months. Phil Spencer might step down after the next-gen console. Bond might take over. Any thoughts? That has been shot down as not true. Microsoft has specifically said that there's no plan for his retirement right now. I don't believe anything they say, so who really cares? But yeah, it was shot down by them. Yo, it's good, Game Riot. Release date's weird. I wonder if it will do well on Xbox being $40 and not on Game Pass. Oh, you talking about Helldivers 2? Yeah, so I think... Yeah, I follow you. I believe I follow you on Twitter. I believe I do. Game Riot Army, or maybe I follow you on Twitter. It's good to see you in chat. The issue with Helldivers is interesting because I have always said I'm in support of Helldivers 2 going to Xbox because I think live service games live and die by the player funnel. But I've also said I don't think it makes good business sense because they're now going to have to support a version of the game on Series S and Series X, so you got greater increase of version control. So my concern has been that the juice won't be worth the squeeze. I thought if you're trying to grow the platform of Helldivers 2, why wouldn't you just put it on PS4? Like, if you could come up with a PS4 version, there's like 60 million people still turning on their PS4s. That's double the amount of people who even own a Series console. Like, the Series console's in like, what, the 30 millions? So I thought, if you're going to do that, if you're going to have Arrowhead sort of stretching to increase their bandwidth support of more versions of Helldivers 2, to me it made more sense to do a PS4 version than to do an Xbox version. So we'll see. I will gladly be proven wrong. Again, I have been in support of it going to Xbox because, to me, if you can do it and it doesn't harm the game and it doesn't harm the updates and the patches and it doesn't harm the quality of the game, then I'm all for it, because that's just more people in the player funnel of a live service game. We'll see. I'm nuanced on this. I doubt that's what people will claim or say about me, but I'm nuanced on this. It's like, I have no problem with Helldivers going to Xbox. I just have never been able to see the business side of it. I just don't know if it's a good move. And it could have been maybe pushed more for by the developer, because the developer is not owned by PlayStation, but PlayStation owns the Helldivers IP. So maybe they negotiated with PlayStation and said, hey, listen, because there was that interview recently where, Arrowhead said their next project will be not funded by PlayStation, but they're happy to work with PlayStation again. It's possible they came to the table and said, listen, we would really like our game to be on Xbox, and if you want to enter a negotiation about another game or future games or something else with, Helldivers 3, part of our terms is we would like to put the game on Xbox. That's entirely possible that they negotiated it, because they expressed public interest in putting their game on Xbox. I've got comments on the video that I want to take a minute to look at here. So let's go ahead and look at some of these. We've got, this is from Biggie. He says, Phil has to step down. There's no way I can believe anything he says. This is more on Microsoft, in my opinion. I think this is more on Microsoft, in my opinion. I don't think we hang this on Phil. Lone Wolf says, appreciate the video a bunch. This whole thing is just awful. Agreed. If you guys haven't watched the video yet, it's right here. It's right here. It's called Xbox Has Been Devastated. And listen, I literally rant for about 22 minutes in this video. Like, it's just 22 minutes of a rant. So if you guys go and leave a comment and watch the video and then come back here and discuss it, I didn't even anticipate doing that. I just hit the button and couldn't stop talking. It just annoyed me so much. Especially given all the coverage and all of the negativity that was thrown my way about my coverage of this, from people with platforms and people with influence. People with platforms and influence using their platforms to lie about me and to say things about me that weren't true over the years. And now they want to get all virtuous about this. Save it. A 5 members coming in from Norin. Thank you so much. 361. And the member battle continuing to handedly go to Team Red over Team Purple. Member Light renewal from Adam Lee, 25 months. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great day. And remember to smash the like button. And Mash with the 20 bomb, cough, cough. I don't think Mash is here today. Listen, Adam Lee and others, if you're renewing and it says you're on a Member Light, consider upgrading to Member Plus. I need a bunch of you to do that. We have really, really struggled with that. I've been on YouTube for 5 years streaming, and the biggest need of a streamer, a daily full-time streamer like me, of my size on YouTube, is we need people supporting the show directly. If you can't, understandable. I'm always gifting. People are always gifting. In fact, I owe you guys right now, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the 10 that I owe. Wait, did I already do the 10 that I owe? I don't know if I did. Let me double check. I don't think I did. I owe you guys 10 members, okay? So, I put my money where my mouth is. I support this community, and I make sure people get memberships. Every 25, I give 5. So let me do that right now. But if you can do it, it's $6 instead of 5. A $6 membership goes an incredibly long way, especially when a bunch of you do it. It's $1 more than the 5. It's not about the dollar. It's about getting out of the gifted pool. Okay. I'm just cleaning out my email, and I want to look at some more of these comments. Xbox is dead, plain and simple. The Xbox of the past is dead, for sure. Yeah, there's some pretty good articles out there. Chris String's got a really good one about the situation. Laura Fryer's video, obviously, she's got her good video. People are saying this is not the end, still more to come. Sadly, this is true. This is sad for gamers everywhere. It is. It is sad for gamers everywhere. I think I left a comment. If you guys left a comment, thank you for that. I try to reply to as many comments as I can on the video, and the video is doing quite well. So thank you for that support. We had a huge dip lately, and YouTube's been recalibrating things. We did have a video that people really didn't like, and that can kind of hurt you on the platform. And so we're kind of bouncing back. So that is appreciated greatly. So if you have not hit subscribe on my channel yet, consider hitting subscribe. And also consider hitting the like button on this video. And so thank you. A bunch of new subscribers today. That's really encouraging. We were having a really odd dip. It's always feast or famine as a content creator, and we kind of came off of showcase season and was like, oh my gosh, it was kind of like, whoa, what's happening? So it's good to see some people here and some people supporting the content. And we do this all the time. We don't just obviously cover layoffs. I don't like covering layoffs. This was far too big and reaching and destructive to not cover it. The last couple times they did layoffs, I did not do videos about it. Now 50 bomb comes in from Pathalon Phoenix and takes us to 411. You are a madman. You are an absolute madman. This guy. We'll see if anybody decides to match him today. If anybody decides to match him on purple or team red, we will see. You guys have your little battle down here. And, whew. That's a big one. Thank you, Pathalon. Your support recently, Pathalon, has just been absolutely insane. You know, we've got some heavy hitters, and he's definitely one of them. So thank you. 95% of the daily players of Helldivers are PC. No, it's not 95. I think it's like a 70-30 split. It's like a 65-45. I'm sorry, 65-35 or 70-30 split. It definitely leans heavier PC though. I don't think it's 95. I think that's like well exaggerated. Because when they had the big player spike recently, it was like a 70-30 split, I think. And it makes sense. I mean, Helldivers, I think for the long term had more people playing on PC even for Helldivers 1. I don't think that's an indictment or anything. People being like, "Oh, PlayStation sucks," or, you know, PC's carrying the game. I just think that game vibed with the PC audience in a stronger way. It also shows the intelligence of doing a multi-plat live service release. I think multi-plat makes a lot of good sense for live service because you increase the player funnel, which is why I've never had a problem with Helldivers going to Xbox. I'm like, get more people playing. That's better for everybody. You know, anytime they do a new piece of content, anytime they surge the player base, that's more people playing. That's more people supporting the studio, maybe buying skins or something. That's good for everybody. That's good for people at the studio. It's good for people playing the game. Live service games are a different animal because you don't just need those initial sales, you know, during the first 6 months. You need the game ongoing engagement to work. The worst part about all this, says Eugene, is it feels like it has nothing to do with gaming. Microsoft is hurting their other ventures, and they're cutting gaming to make up for it. That's the problem with non-gaming companies running gaming companies. Right, and I mentioned that in the video, Eugene. There are people sort of speculating that this has to do with their endeavors with AI. Well, if it has something to do with their endeavors with AI, like Microsoft, what are they going to do? They're going to go to the thing that makes them the least amount of money. Gaming makes them the least amount of money. And I'm like, gut it. We spent $80 billion to bolster our gaming efforts, and gaming has the lowest ROI for them. So it's going to get gutted the fastest. This is why, you know, I've said for a very long time, you don't want Microsoft owning more. Just a week ago, I was getting some hate for saying that I would not want WB to be owned by Xbox or Embracer or Tencent or Amazon or Google. I would prefer it to be PlayStation. I feel like PlayStation has a better track record. Nobody has a perfect track record. PlayStation certainly has a history of games and companies that haven't gone well with Concord or other studios, but not even close to the degree of what Microsoft has. It's not even close. Like, if you're just pragmatic about it, it's like, you don't want Microsoft to own anything more. Like, From this point on, if anybody were to cheer for Microsoft to buy more studios or to buy more property, I believe that person to be either insane or just saying things in bad faith. Like, they don't even really mean it. Like, I can't imagine anybody saying that or thinking that sensibly. I just can't imagine, given what's been going on. This guy here left a comment and says, I just realized to this day I never finished Donkey Kong Country. Go back and finish it. Funky Kong music is worth it alone. Funky Kong's music is worth it alone, dude. You know what I'm saying? Greatest video yet. No script, just chatting. Nailed it. I'm pissed too. Thank you, Predator. If you guys if you guys liked that format, we're going to keep doing uploads like that. And if you guys keep supporting them, that's very encouraging, because we've kind of struggled to find our way with uploads a little bit, because I'm a live streamer. I cut my teeth in the live environment. Most of my upload content in the past was literally just a segment of my live stream, and it was just me sort of talking through bullet points and talking to the audience. So if you guys continue to support, those, if you continue to support those videos in that format, I greatly appreciate it. Hang on, I'm just approving some of the comments. People are being pretty scathing, but I'm going to let them through. Dark Taco says, I don't have a script of this video. I have a list of casualties. Indeed. Actions speak louder than words. They do. I'm replying to comments on the video, so feel free to leave comments on the video. Actually, you guys on Purple might not have watched the video just yet. There's like 120 of you hanging out. Thank you so much for hanging out on Purple. I greatly appreciate it. Consider supporting the channel directly, with a membership, or I'm sorry, not a membership. Consider supporting the channel directly with a sub. You can use Prime. You can use $5, and it will get you an ad-free viewing experience. And you guys that are watching on YouTube, I'm gonna pause that for now. I know that can cause some grief and some frustration. We've been trying to kind of navigate that. So if you keep getting hit with them, remind me, and I'll pause them again. They've been running for the last hour, and I forgot to pause them, so I am sorry about that. So there's a link in chat of the video that I put up this morning. Go give it a watch, a like, and a comment. PWH Town left a comment here. He says, I knew Microsoft was incompetent, but I didn't know to what degree. They built a self-proficient quadruple A studio, the initiative to reboot Perfect Dark, when they already owned Rare. They literally just went on a blind spending spree with no knowledge of how to manage all those assets. Truly pathetic. Agreed 100%. Agreed 100%. It would be like me buying a bunch of construction companies and being like, why is it taking so long to build these houses? Just fire a bunch of people. I'm not making enough money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you say Purple instead of... Because YouTube doesn't seem to like saying the names of other platforms, because there are people that will be like streaming on YouTube and directing people to go other places. And so that's just something that we do to make sure that we're not... Because the AI is summarizing what I'm talking about, and if it picks up on some of those words too often, it'll be like, hey. I'm just doing like a multi broadcast. And... that should be totally cool and allowed, but the platforms get a little touchy about it. We were thinking that might be one of the reasons like live turnout and live discoverability has not been great for us on YouTube. Like maybe we're getting a little bit of that. Maybe we're getting a little wrist slap, for doing the multis. SDO with a $5 super chat or a £5 super chat. Microsoft has been in and out of court for years on consolidation and destroying innovative newcomers. Why did anyone think this would be different? Their brand allegiance blinded them. Right? Their brand allegiance blinded them. That's all it is. They cared more about cheering for their brand. It was one of the reasons why if you were against the deal, you were labeled as a pony, because that was the only way people could think about it. Like, that's a self-report, right? I would make analysis of what this will do to the business, what it'll do to spending, what it'll do to operational costs at Xbox, what this does, as this could be a potential problem with competition, as it could be a potential threat with like cloud markets and things like that when we were talking about it, like analyzing the CMA's remarks and everybody else, and sort of how Xbox had handled the FTC, how they handled the CMA, how they handled the Euro regulators. And you make all that analysis, read through all those reports, and make your videos, and people are like, yeah, you're just a pony. And it's like, the reason they're doing that, it's a self-report. They're viewing it through the lens of brand allegiance. They're not supporting it because they think it's business, like, sensible or good for the market or good for the consumer. They're cheering for it because they're cheering for Xbox. And if you're not cheering for it, you are obviously anti. You're a pony. So when they would call me that, it was a self-report. Because I remember thinking, like, why am I being called this? I did not know why people were calling me that. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Well, that's why. It's a self-report. It's like, well, I'm viewing this through the lens of brand allegiance, so clearly that's why Lono is against it. That's why Reforge is against it. Because their support of it doesn't go beyond that. The thoughtfulness is not even there. It's short-sighted. It's like, well, my brand's doing something, so clearly this is the thing I should cheer for. Like, the example would be when PlayStation has done things that I think has been incredibly stupid and mismanaged or backwards. That's what I call it. I'm not like, I don't try to spin it into some positive. I'm like, no, that was dumb. They shouldn't have done that. Xbox gets the same treatment. This is dumb. You shouldn't be doing this. This is going to be destructive. We shouldn't want this as consumers. Game Pass hurts big publishers. Big publishers already rely on their recognition and only benefit small studios, but even then, those small studios still care about sales more than engagement. Look at Expedition 33 and Pal World. Thank you, Dylan, for doing a single gifted. I appreciate it so much, taking us to 412. Well, and if you analyze the impact of Game Pass on studios or games, you have to analyze it on a game-by-game basis, because there have been some games that have come out and been like, this has been incredibly helpful for us, and there's other games that have come out and said that it's not. So it's not a surefire guaranteed win. It's a game-by-game thing. And I think that's why the bigger publishers were very much like, that's value destructive. What are you talking about? Like, we're investing millions of dollars in a game, and you want us to put it on a subscription service? Also, you have to remember, putting the game on the subscription service benefits Xbox. It doesn't benefit the big publisher that wants to make sales. It's antithetical to their business aims. Yo, Benj. Oh, have you done 2? Did I miss one, Benj? You gifted a sub. You gifted 2 subs. Did I miss the first one, Benj? 768. You just gifted another one to Blood Hunter. And then Tony with the $5 super chat. It's time for new leadership in Xbox. How can you trust the brand after this? Thank you so much. Let me add these over here. I'm going to go ahead and add those 2. 414. You did, but all good. Oh, I did give you credit. Okay, so 413 then. Oh, wait. Oh, no. You're saying you did, as in I missed it. So I need to add it, right? It should be 12, and then this should be 14. I'll just give you credit for it. As an Xbox owner, this doesn't affect me, but I do hope all the people laid off can land on their feet. Oh, it doesn't affect you. Perfect Dark getting canceled doesn't affect you. Everwild getting canceled doesn't affect you. ZeniMax MMO getting canceled doesn't affect you. Romero's game getting canceled doesn't affect you. There are less games coming to the market for you to play on your precious Game Pass. It doesn't affect you? That's a funny way of looking at the situation. No? Interesting. So what you're admitting then is you don't play games, because it doesn't matter if less games come to the market. You don't care if less games come to the market. So right now, if Xbox came out and said, Gears of War E-Day's canceled as well, Fable's canceled as well, State of Decay 3's events canceled as well, according to what you're saying is that wouldn't affect you. You'd be just fine. What would affect you? Like, what would it take for them to affect you? Single gifted from Stone Spire. I know what Stone Spire's doing. Stone Spire wants a 10 bomb. And Benj is going to take it to 20. Oops. 420. Nice. We're now a 5 bomb away. A little incidental tag team from Stone Spire and Benj. We're a 5 bomb away from 425. Whoever hits it gets it. It's a race to see who can drop the 5 bomb first. Will it be YouTube? Will it be purple? Let's see. I'm watching my screens carefully. And it's purple. Alex nails it. Thank you so much, Alex. 425. I owe 5 to the purple platform. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very, very much. Mr. Alex. All right, let me go here, and let me do the 5 that I owe you guys right now. So 3 games get canceled, and I don't play games. You're saying less games coming to the market doesn't affect you. I can only conclude from that you don't play games, yes. I'll go further. You don't care about games. You don't. If there was a really, really big and super popular planned game from the makers of let's say Overwatch 2, and everybody was looking forward to it, and they were excited, and they were hoping it was going to be this big turnaround time for them, and it gets canceled. Now, I might be able to say, well, that doesn't affect me because I wasn't interested in the game. But the reality is, it does affect me, because that's a company in the market that if they make more money, they hire more people. Maybe they invest in a side project. Maybe they invest in future DLC. It keeps them here. It keeps them healthy. It keeps dollars coming into the gaming ecosystem. That not happening actually does affect me. So what you're saying is that you either don't play games or you just don't care about them, right? Perfect Dark getting canceled, well, it doesn't affect me. Then you either don't play games or you don't care about them. About 10,000 games came out on Steam alone this year. Do you care about all of them? Yeah. Yeah, of course. You might be new here, but I've said very many times, I want every game developer to make buckets of cash. As long as it's done in an ethical way, I want them to make buckets of cash, because then they're going to keep making games. And the gaming market and the gaming economy is continued to seen as something that is strong and worthy of investment and reinvestment and worthy of, new studios opening, or, angel investors getting involved, or more or smaller publishers getting involved. That's a different argument. No, it's not. It's the same argument. It's the exact same argument. Wanting as many games to come out and make as much money as possible, as long as they're doing it in an ethical way, that is me caring about all games and the industry. You don't seem to care, because you're like, well, 3 games getting canceled, that doesn't affect me. I don't care. Doesn't affect me at all. Yes, it does. Like, between 10,000 and 20,000 people losing their job in the market, that does affect you. That's less talent in the industry. Imagine that Perfect Dark came out and it was amazing and it did really, really well, and because somebody worked on that project, they were able to maybe leave and spin up their own studio, or leave and go work somewhere else, and then they work on a game that you enjoy. Well, that was made possible because they were a part of a successful venture and project and game called Perfect Dark. When you zap 10,000 people out of the industry, that will have an adverse effect on future games, future studios, and future properties. So yes, it will affect you. It's undeniable that it'll affect you. AOZ left a comment. During the ABK acquisition, there were so many people just worried about themselves and what would come to Game Pass. I hope they can reflect on their self-serving support and realize repercussions and consolidations of industries. This. Big time. This. I can't help but wonder if Elder Scrolls 6 is safe. That's wild to say, but at this point I wouldn't rule it out. Sneaker SO seems to think everything is in danger and nothing is sacred. Sneaker basically said that if you think you're working on a sacred cow, you're not. You guys remember a little video I put out with Halo on the thumbnail and I said nothing is sacred? Sounds like I was right. Nothing is sacred. I would love it if you and Moriarty talked about this, because you two have polar opposite positions. Well, apparently I've burned that bridge. People have ensured that I'm basically blacklisted with him, because, that's what these people do. They misrepresent, false frame, attack me, lie about me, and then get me blacklisted with companies, developers, studios, and even podcasters. But hey, they cheered for ABK. Nora says, the amount of knowledge and talent in game devs that will most likely be burned by this, and they will not continue the game development, is astounding. Way to ruin your own legacy. This. Worst deal ever? Worst deal ever. Devil Shooter says, it's exactly as Reforge said during the ABK case, and yet haters will still say you were wrong. Yep. How can anybody say this doesn't affect them? It affects us all. Gung Ho says, Lono, I followed Colin since 2009. Trust me, as someone who's also been unjustly canceled, your bridge with him is intact. Just reach out in good faith. I mean, I'd be happy to reach out to Colin. I like him. I like his takes. I like their podcast. I think they do very, very good work. I think I only disagree with him like once recently, and it was with the, what was it? I can't even remember. It was the statement that he made about the marketing that's been canceled for Concord. I felt like the face value interpretation of his comments was fair, and he acted like it should have been clear to people. This guy says, we're going to approve this comment, by the way. He says, you are dumb. Those 9,000 layoffs are for Microsoft, not Xbox. I'm just going to go ahead and approve it. I bet the rest of the comment's brilliant. It's probably highly intelligent. $5 super chat tip from PWChan. I bet Lena Khan has the biggest smirk on her face right now, not because of the layoff, but because she tried to prevent this from happening. Oh, FTC? Yeah, for sure. Remember when people went after the FTC and Lena Khan? Do you remember people were cheering on the union buster? What was her name? The lady that left as soon as it was over. She took the money and she ran. It's just crazy. This is a bloodbath, says Second Love. Says Lono, good watch. Thank you. Louis says, the more infuriating thing is how, after the initial shock wears off, this is going to be spun and repackaged by the bottom feeders of YouTube and Twitch by some grand Xbox 4D chess move. Also classic, passionate, off the dome. I appreciate that. Forgot about Lulu. Yeah. They ran into the arms of a union buster, Lulu, and they went after Lena Khan and FTC and thought that they, you're not trying to protect the consumers. You're not trying to protect the employees. Just embarrassing behavior. Grown men out here on Twitter acting like fools. It wasn't 9,000 from the game division. It was 9,000 from Microsoft. This is false, Neo Reaper. Hilly says, Halo Studios, a.k.a. 343, lost another 5 people, and a sea of over 9,000 souls doesn't sound like much, but now the flagship IP, 117, has less than 300 devs working on multiple titles. We don't even know if they are in full-time studio staff or their contracts. This is how they treat Halo. Nobody is safe. 100%. Nobody's safe at the platform. They can turn everything into Minecraft. They're stupid. They're so stupid it's dangerous, says Hilly. Can we not do that? How do I delete that I don't like this app. I can't delete the comment. Let's do this. If you invoke politics in my stream again, you'll get a 24. I don't want to hear a single mention of anything political. That shouldn't even need to be said out loud. Street Shadow with a member light renewal, 15 months. Lono, have you seen the Xbox commentators now go after Lauren Fryer? Everything she said is basically on the nose. Yeah, what do you guys have to say about Laura Fryer now? Any comment on Laura Fryer's video now? I mean, I'm just straining to hear. It sounds like nothing. Yeah. Success. Yeah. I left the Xbox platform for PC 5 years back, says Stonespire, but I still bought their games and had hope for the brand. Seeing them decline and become a mess over the last few years has been hard to watch, as all criticism has been deserved. Now we have this. Microsoft is once again hurting Xbox with their own plans and ideas, paving the way of Microsoft Gaming with the blood of the corpse they made of the Xbox brand. As Will said, video game consumers are just tired of remakes and mediocre new IP. The industry is feeling this frustration, especially when it comes from AAA titles. Smaller studios are taking over. Not the Hulk Hogan, Lono. What? This affects everyone. Microsoft games are third party now. Yo, thank you, Jerry. Guys, I keep delaying the thing that interrupts the show that nobody likes. So show me some appreciation and hit that like button. All right, let's get the like count up. All right. Jerry A with a member plus for 7 months says, with Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox, does that mean Sony doesn't view Xbox as competition? Xbox is deceased. I don't know if that's the take just yet. I'd be interested to see if Herman Hol speaks to this in an earnings call. If it was a negotiation with Arrowhead, because Arrowhead was recently on record saying their next game would not be published by Sony, but they were willing to work with Sony in the future. And I wonder if that was part of the deal. Like, hey, we're happy to work with you guys, and we're happy to sign a contract for Helldivers 3. Our terms are that we would like Helldivers 2 to go to Xbox. I mean, that would just be my thought, is like there's a possibility there. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying we don't really know just yet. I'm curious, when the dust settles on it, what it'll be. Hang on. I want to put a link to the video. I want to put a link to the video on the poll. I put a poll. Xbox. What did we title this again? Xbox has been devastated. We'll put a link to the video on the poll, and we'll pin it at the top. If you guys haven't taken this poll yet, it is which Xbox canceled game hurts the most. Perfect Dark, Everwild, new ZeniMax MMO. And there we go. Great video. Your passion is showing, says Dan. This hits hard as an Xbox fan. I left behind my crew and library after all the BS marketing about the S and their failure to improve. It just sucks. It does. It sucks. And then indies and AA are on the rise. I agree with Mike Apex here. Yeah, Nixus did the port, which is really interesting. That's really interesting. Arrowhead didn't do this, which means PlayStation is like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, PlayStation has to say go ahead. They own the IP. But the fact that Nixus did it, what's the Saturday stretch goal number? I mean, is it 600? Dude, Saturday's like a really big ask. I tell you what, since I didn't specify it, we will make it, because last week for the Saturday stream I said it was 1,000. I don't think that's fair. Let's say 700. I can justify it to Madam if we can hit 700. I said stretch, and I never specified stretch earlier this week. 1,000 doesn't seem fair. Saturday's a big ask. It is. It's a really big ask for us to stream on a Saturday night. So yeah, we'll have to hit 7 for me to justify. Because tonight, not tonight. I'm sorry. Tomorrow night there will be no Friday night stream because of 4th of July. We'll be at a friend's house. Well, would PlayStation even bother? Is this like being nice to the kid you bullied for a long time? I don't know. I use the question command. Perfect image. I'm not really using the question command right now. It's a bit of a wild day. Chat's hyperactive, and I'm reading comments on an upload, so it's a little bit hard for me to pull up those questions right now. After all this record profit, says Otto, I guess it's never enough for Microsoft. But what do you expect from a studio that closed Tango Gameworks after they won Game of the Year? That's well said. What a butterfly effect. This is cause for great companies making dumb decisions. Nintendo should have held Rare close to the chest on that day years ago. For real. Oh my gosh. A fair trade for Gears. I would think that people are going to couch it like that way, like it's a trade. I mean, I don't see it that way, but yeah, they've already emailed me, Creature. I'm in contact with them. Tokon's not already multiplat. Well, I believe Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is going to be like a normal live service game, so like PC and PlayStation. I don't know if PlayStation is going to suddenly change their live service strategy and start shipping games to Xbox day and date, since Helldivers is coming to Xbox by way of Nixxes. That it's coming by way of Nixxes, so that's a port. That's not like a parallel development thing. Porter Rock is saying he's taking the L. If PlayStation is not willing to put their own first-party games on PS4, what makes you think they're going to put Helldivers 2 on Xbox? For sure. Yeah, Bethesda has canceled a bunch of unannounced projects. Again, you got more loss of property in the market. You know, more. So you hate to see it. Totally a waste. Let's see here. E. Kim says, the crap PlayStation and Naughty Dog got for wasting time and not coming out The Last of Us 2 multiplayer, but Perfect Dark was announced in 2020, I think, and they've been showing it off at Xbox showcases since, and they just scrapped it all the time. That's even worse than what happened at Naughty Dog, and I think this is why PlayStation doesn't even want to show stuff until like a year before it comes out, because Microsoft has this, stringing fans along with Perfect Dark for at least 5 to 6 years. Full game scrapped, while a multiplayer mode got scrapped. Somehow like the worst thing to the bots. P.S. Live service efforts needed a course correction, and that seems to have happened. But Xbox is just decimating entire games and studios. It isn't the same at all. Agreed. Yeah, it's not the same at all. Like, PlayStation has had to course correct on their live service efforts. They wasted a bunch of time with Bend, and they've course corrected with Bluepoint, and Naughty Dog made their own course correction. Xbox is decimating studios, shutting them down, and canceling games. These are not equal. Anybody trying to make them equal is just an idiot. I mean, not the guy commenting is in agreement with him. I'm not calling him an idiot. So if anybody tries to make those equal, that's pure idiocy. They're not equal. Course correcting on live service efforts and having those studios then shift to other things, that's a good thing. It sucks. Everybody knows that it sucks. Nobody's happy that Bend was working on a live service game. The lesson that PlayStation has learned is don't have your single-player studios try to do live service. Partner with people like the Arc team working on Marvel Tocone, or like Arrowhead with Helldivers. Partner with people who understand how to do these types of games rather than tasking your single-player studios to do it. Great lesson to learn, course correction. It sucks, but we're at least able to move forward. That's not what Xbox is doing. Xbox isn't like learning a lesson in course correcting. They are decimating entire studios. They're cutting some studios down by 50%. Can you imagine suddenly having to be at a studio that just got reduced by 50%? Like, well, what are we going to do now? A lot of these studios are probably going to be turned into support studios. So it's not even a matter of like just the canceled games and the studios that have been shuttered. It's also a matter of any studio that's been reduced by 50% is likely not going to bring a new game to the market. They're going to be turned into a support studio. That's a massive reduction in their operation. So anybody trying to equate these things or do whataboutisms with PlayStation, this is the reason that like guys like Chris String and others, like people that actually commentate on the business side of things, the reason they're calling this like incredibly destructive and the end of Xbox as we used to know it, or you know, a decimation or like a ripple effect in the market, the reason they're saying that is because this is bigger than just like, oh, some people got laid off, boo-hoo. It's like, no, this is absolutely bigger than that. It's not like 10 people that are now going to have to like land at another studio. Stop Killing Games. They got their 1 million signatures. They were really close. I saw Tectone retweeted it this morning, and he had tweeted it, and within 9 minutes they had 8,000 more signatures than his screenshot. It's telling me that the server is not accessible. Is the page gone because they got their signatures? I can't even see the page anymore because I tweeted it. Even worse than that, says Ashen, they expect these studios to operate at the same capacity by using AI and cloud services. Only Xbox have more than 40 first-party games in development. Where do you get this BS? Oh, Eugene, Matt Booty said that. That's straight out of the mouth of Matt Fat Booty. No one's putting any accountability on the initiative. They had 7 years to make Perfect Dark and still not done. Maybe it's a long way off and Xbox doesn't want to pay for it. Yeah, no, that's fine. Blame the devs. Guys, I want everybody to know in chat right now, Cobra Kai is wanting to blame the devs. That's a good position to take. I want everybody to thank him for that position. That's really good. It's really good. It was 343's fault with Halo Infinite. It's Rare's fault with Everwild. Initiative's fault with Perfect Dark. It's everybody else's fault. It's not Microsoft's fault. There's not a consistent problem with creative directors and directors leaving and games getting reboot and games having trouble to come to market on time underneath Microsoft's ownership. I mean, they've struggled this entire dadgum generation to bring games out on time. But sure, Cobra Kai, blame the developers. Go for it. Let's hear your brilliant analysis of why it's the initiative's fault. The site says we've cleared 1 million signatures. I hate being like this, but there's a chance a significant number of them aren't real. That means we have to keep signing in overdrive mode. Yeah. It did go really high really fast. So, yeah. It wasn't 343's fault on Halo Infinite. Wow. Who made the game? You know, it's times like this that the runway lights light up for me and I would like unlace my gloves, you know, and just bare knuckle, just rock your jaw verbally. Because you clearly have zero clue what you're talking about. So, I'm assigning you homework because I don't feel like retreading this with you. Go and read Jason Schreier's autopsy on Halo Infinite and 343 and what happened. And after you do that, you can come back here and apologize to everyone for willful stupidity. That's your assignment for the day. That's what you get to do now. 9 to 10,000 people laid off, and you want to come in here and run blame the devs nonsense? Okay. Go do some homework. And then you come back and apologize to everybody here for what you've done. Actually, no. Come back. It'll take you too long to read it. Half the studio at 343 was on a contract, and Microsoft's policy is every 18 months contract workers have to leave. So now tell me how that's 343's fault. There you go. Let's just save ourselves some time here. It'd take him too long to find and read it. That's what management does. They put it all on the devs. You're saying yes. So you're saying half of the studio being on a contract and Microsoft enforcing a policy that every 18 months contract workers have to leave because they don't want to pay them benefits. You think that's 343's fault. You have just a dizzying intellect. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I mean, I'm saying interesting. What I want to say is that's stupid. That's the word I'd rather use. That's very stupid to think that. Microsoft gets caught misclassifying employees, doesn't want to pay them benefits, and institutes a policy after they're sued about this. And then they institute an 18-month contract policy so contract workers can't stay. I'm saying to be mad at Microsoft's hiring practices. No. Let's rewind the clock, though. You're saying it's the devs' fault, and I'm saying there is a consistent and observable pattern with developers underneath Microsoft's ownership that it's very difficult to get games to market underneath Microsoft's ownership. 343 launched multiplayer in a beta. Forza Motorsport launched and wasn't ready. Starfield wasn't ready. Redfall wasn't ready. What is this issue? All these studios underneath Microsoft's ownership with the same consistent problems. Shipping games not on time, not feature complete, delaying games, and even when they finally do come out after delays, they're not feature complete. And now you're going to stare at me straight-faced, and you're going to be like, oh, well, the initiative took too long with Perfect Dark. Yeah, everybody else is having the same problem. Have you ever done a connect the dot drawing before? Like, you just go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a circle! Like, have you never done anything? Connect the dots. Like, how can you... I don't understand how anybody could be like, oh, it's the devs' fault. The pattern is so clear. The people are just in denial. And this is what's crazy to me is, why would you err on the side of defending Microsoft? I'm not talking about Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty. I'm not talking about Xbox as a structural company, as a gaming division. I am talking about Microsoft. Why would you ever err on the side of being like, it's not Microsoft, it's the devs? The frick? What? Since ABK, I've said stop looking at Xbox. Stop looking at Phil Spencer, his cool t-shirts and nice jackets. Stop looking at Sarah Bond's amazing pants at the showcase. Stop looking at them. They're all show. Love them or hate them, they're all show. Look at Microsoft. They've been the devil in the room since the beginning of all of this. They're the issue. Since Xbox One, it's Microsoft. It has nothing to do with Phil. It has nothing to do with the devs. It's why they can't keep directors and creative directors. They've lost so many this gen alone. Imagine leading a team and dealing with that. Like, look at what happened at 343. It wasn't just like half the people were on a contract. I'm fairly certain we can go back with 343, and there was a pattern of directors leaving. Well, I mean, gee, I wonder why. Would you want to work on something like that? Who would want to work under those conditions? Was it 9,000 Xbox alone? We don't have the hard numbers just yet. It's somewhere between 10 and 20,000. Ecstasis is speculating it's almost as high as 20,000. This isn't a reset. This guy says great gaming reset. This is not a reset. This guy says, why do you care? Aren't you a PlayStation fanboy with no games? Idiot comment of the day. You win the award. You're a moron. It sucks for the people, but these companies need to remove the bloat. All these extra studios employees is not leading to better games. Second dumbest comments today. Sorry. Hey, it's Snoop. That's got to be the second dumbest comments today. You're in second place. Behind the guy that said I was a fanboy. You get the silver medal for dumbest comment. These companies need to remove the bloat. All these extra studios and employees is not leading to better games. Like, that's like an onion of dumb. There's layers to how dumb that is. Like, what would a studio working on Perfect Dark or Everwild or ZeniMax working on an MMO, how is that bloat? I don't understand. Those are studios working on games. And we have it on good authority. They're being let go for non-gaming reasons. It's like, well, we want to increase our funding of AI. We're investing like $80 billion into AI infrastructure, so we need to take gaming to the threshing floor because it's like where we make the least amount of money. Good golly, this has nothing to do with like bloat. Oh, we're so bloated. We need to get rid of these studios. Holy mackerel! That's, like I said, that's the second dumbest comment today on this. That's just dumb, man. Eugene says, I'm so angry I used the wrong there. One of the best games of the year came out exclusively for PS5. You have no games. Lono, this is an illness. Listen, these guys had a 7-month stretch where Xbox put out more first-party property or exclusives than PlayStation. They were in a drought for basically the first 4 to 5 years of the gen. They had a good 7-month run, and they want to act like they won the World Series. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like a 10-inning baseball game, and they're like, well, we got more points in 1 inning than you did, so we win. And it's like, oh, okay, so Where Winds Meet and Lost Soul Aside and Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei, yeah, those aren't coming out this year. Oops. Like, they just don't count those. They don't want to talk about right now. It's why, you guys remember I said this, right? The fervor with which people said PlayStation has no games, it went like this in congruence with the Death Stranding 2 release date, because they knew it was going to be a Game of the Year contender. So they were like, get in all your hits now, scream and yell about how PlayStation has no games. Do it right now because Kojima's coming. Like, it increased. You guys saw it, right? As soon as I pointed it out to you, it was so easy to see. It was so easy to see. It was like this increase in like, yeah, PlayStation has no games. It's like, yeah, quickly say that because Death Stranding 2 is about to drop, and everybody knew it was going to be a Game of the Year contender. That's just the nature of that argument. It's stupid. So you're analyzing. You're basically analyzing tomfoolery. It's like it's just a bunch of nonsense. It's not about what's real or about what's accurate. It's just utter nonsense from the top to bottom. That entire argument has been nonsensical. Expedition 33 was made by 30 devs. These 900 people studios are not viable. While I do agree that 900 dev studios are entering into a phase of like assessment of like, can we make this work, right? Expedition 33 was not made by 30 devs. It was touched by like hundreds of people. Even they've admitted to that. I don't think like 900 studios is a sweet spot. I've even said that I think a lot of the larger studios are going to start to spin up smaller projects. So like instead of a 900 person studio working on one project, like spin up 2. Place smaller bets, AA sized games at AAA quality. It had 30 core devs. Google it. At some level, it's adorable that you think you're educating me on this. I think that's very charming, but I'm well aware that the team at Sandfall has 30 core devs, but more than 30 people built that game. Go roll the credits on it. It's not 30 people. They did lots of outsourcing. They did lots of contracting, which is what a lot of these big studios do. Like, it's actually not abnormal to have way more people touching the game than are actually employed at the studio. So, I give Sandfall credit where credit is due. Go watch SkillUp's documentary on the game. It's absolutely incredible what they did. But to just keep running around with this false notion that 30 people built the Game of the Year leader, it's just not true. It creates this false notion of like 30 people hammering it out in a room together and, oh my gosh, anybody can do this. It's very, very much misrepresentative. When the documentary comes to an end, the dev said 40 to 50 people from beginning to end, with people who left at the studio, then localization was third party. Yeah, there was a lot of other work done on that game by other people. They deserve an insane amount of credit, but like you just don't want to run with this notion that like, yep, it was just 30 people. They did it all by themselves. It's like it was actually a lot of people that helped bring that thing to light. 30 core team, 30 to 40 core team, sure. Team Asobi's like 70 people, but then watch the credits. Sub 100. You have to understand something, too, about Expedition 33. It's a particular type of game. A sub 100 team is not building God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West. You understand that, right? You're not getting games of that scope and size and quality from sub 100 teams. It simply isn't true. You're right. You're overreacting. You're correct that studios have gotten a little too large. They're bloated. 8 to 900 is a bit much. I actually think 500 is the sweet spot. Around 500 is the sweet spot, just from observations and what I've seen in games and where we've seen certain studios and what has happened to them. Forbidden West 2 was also okay. So your subjective opinion about Forbidden West doesn't matter here. Forbidden West 2 was great in my opinion. You think it sucks, so we're at a stalemate on that regard. We're not talking about subjective opinions of the games. We're talking about development efficiency. So now you've changed subjects. Do you want to talk about development efficiency, or do you want to talk about whether or not a game was enjoyable? These are not the same thing. Which thing do you want to talk about? Choose, and then let's stay on that subject. I do think Sony should license Decima. I think more people should use it. Leslie Benzies confirms Mind's Eye will be relaunched, and controversy says that the faults of Mind's Eye are due to internal and external saboteurs in a statement addressed to employees. That can't be real. I think if people use Decima, we'd see crappy Decima. Probably. At some level, I think it'd be cool if Guerrilla just maybe helped some of the in-house studios use Decima the way they helped Kojima. I think that would be worthwhile. I see a lot of Xbox Access creators and corporate influencers dunk on you, so you must be doing something right. I predicted this morning, Gaming Survivor, they're going to spend more time talking about people like me and people on Twitter than actually holding Microsoft accountable. That's the question you should ask them. Why? Because this is likely going to happen. They will spend a significant amount of energy virtue signaling and scolding people on Twitter for console warring. They'll probably be clips of me floating around from today's stream. And the question for them would be, why do you care about Reforge? Why aren't you holding Microsoft accountable? Reforge is just a YouTuber. Reforge didn't lay off 10,000 to 20,000 people and cancel games and shutter studios. He simply talked about it and voiced his opinion about it. Why in the blue frick do you care what that guy says? Why don't you hold the company accountable? In the grand scheme of things, who am I? I'm just a guy on YouTube saying what I think. I didn't shutter studios and cancel projects. You know what I also didn't do? I didn't cheer for the acquisition. I mean, people seem very consistently wanting to hold me accountable for things I say on my channel. You want to hold me accountable for things I say on my channel. Why don't you hold yourself accountable? Why don't you do some self-reflection? Start with the man in the mirror. I don't know why everybody's always wanting to go at me. Why don't you self-reflect on your own statements that you've made with your platform? Maybe self-reflect on saying things about me that aren't true and lying about me. Maybe self-reflect on that. I'm talking about Xbox and studios closing and saying that, yeah, we should hold accountable for people that cheered for this. Yeah, we should. All right, anybody coming after me, you're focusing your energy on the wrong thing. I'm not the problem. I'm just a commentator. I'm just a YouTuber who said this was a bad idea. It would result in market reduction. It will result in less talent in the industry, less games in the industry. I was attacked for saying these things, and here we are. And I'm like, yep, we said all this was going to happen, and a bunch of you cheered for this anyway. So if you want to focus on me and make it about me, and I'm sure there will be clips false framed and ripped from context, right? And these utter buffoons that follow sycophantic weirdos on Twitter instead of actually coming to the channel and actually interacting with what I say. You want to signal boost those guys? You go right ahead. It just means everything people say about you is true. You won't hold them accountable. You're more worried about holding me accountable, which doesn't make any sense at all. Because I'm not attacking anybody. I'm talking about the studios. I'm talking about what was said in the past. These are completely legitimate things to do. Call of Duty World War II is on Game Pass, but it is not safe to play on PC. Hackers are able to use an exploit to get access to your machine. Really? What? Huh? No, I've not watched that. Either Leslie Benzies has a serious case of schizophrenia or is the biggest scapegoater on the planet. I cannot imagine being serious. I cannot imagine him being serious about, like, they had saboteurs at the company that sabotaged Mind's Eye. Like, Destiny Rising release date announced August 28th. Pre-register now on the App Store and Google Play. Yeah. But it's not a looter. It's not a looter. I don't know if the Destiny fans are really going to vibe with it. I mean, they might, but I don't know. Okay, I want to look at the sneaker stuff. It's like a gotcha looter. It's like, no, it's like a class of guns, right? Don't you have like a class of guns? And then you can like do something with the gun, like make it stronger or something. Like you don't actually go for drops. Yo, Wolfsaint's cashing in 20,000 points for a song sample. Lono called all this during ABK, but many were quick to say no. Now with egg on their face, they don't know what to say. But BK, have it your way. That's right. The Ajavi says on my video, I'm surprised Microsoft's still in the gaming business. They treat their gaming studios like two-headed stepchild. It makes them the least amount of money, so it makes sense. Yeah, gaming makes Microsoft like the least amount of money. Why couldn't they just sell the studios? Good question. It's probably faster to just shut them down. I love the new format. It feels like we're just sitting around having a beer, shooting the breeze. You've cracked the code. I appreciate it. These are a lot more enjoyable to make creatively. Yeah, if you guys have liked the new vibe of the uploads of me just kind of like sitting down and talking, I have enjoyed that quite a bit. So when those uploads hit, make sure you're watching them. Make sure you're hitting like. Make sure you're leaving comments. Make sure you're doing all those things. I think the people on Twitter and social media that claim to be Xbox fans are a misrepresentation of real Xbox fans. People I know personally, people at work, or even people I meet, don't think like them. And a lot of the Xbox fans like PlayStation games. They are frauds in my opinion. Hang on. I got to get a song ready to sample for you guys. I'm going to go very, very simple here because I want to look at the sneaker thing. I think Barrier supplied me with like a whole rundown. Oh, I forgot my kiddos made songs last night. I tell you what, this is a perfect song to sample today. It's called Court of Jesters. It's called Court of Jesters. Hang on. Okay, so the line's going to be because court's now in session. Y'all ready for this? Okay, here we go.
Because court is now in session with only false confessions. Court is now in session with only false professions. And that gavel slams as the punchline lands. And that gavel slams as the last line brands all of them false.
I'm sorry that was so loud. My headphones are always set to like half. That looked like it was going to be the right volume. Sorry if that was too loud. There you go. Sorry to everybody's ears that just got blown out. I am not held accountable for any hearing loss that just took place. I set Chrome to 70%. It scared you? Sorry. I set Chrome to 70% so it wouldn't be too loud. And it was so loud. Jack's like, what? Any hearing loss that you guys just suffered is not my fault. I am not legally liable. Okay. All right. Let me pull open the sneaker thing. Where is it? All right. So we're just going to read through this and kind of interact with it. All right. So if you guys have been following the Xbox layoffs, this is a breakdown from notable leaker sneakers, and they are saying some pretty significant things that make the layoffs and the studio foreclosures and the games getting canceled actually more significant. So I just want to read through this and kind of interact with it with you. So Play4 Index has got a nice rundown for us here. So the well-known leaker Sneaker SO, who was first to report on Xbox titles coming to PS5 months before the official announcement, has recently shared new concerns about Xbox's future. So again, this is a reliable leaker, reliable insider. If you guys sort of remember this time frame when this was kind of floating around, a lot of people were in denial and disbelief that this could even be a possibility, and now we are, talking about significantly worse things, right, than just like games going to other platforms. He claims that Microsoft plans to compensate for workforce reductions by training managers to use AI tools like Copilot and ChatGPT. Videos are being created to teach prompt writing and how to use language models for asset generation and new production workflows in game development. In simple terms, projects that survive the layoffs are expected to maintain previous quality levels and meet deadlines, but with smaller budgets and without the same experienced workforce. So translation, these games are still coming out, but they're going to come out hell or high water, and they're going to use machine learning and AI models to get them out. The leaker also emphasizes that this won't be the last wave of layoffs at Xbox Game Studios. So if you think this is over, if you think this is done, it is certainly not done. All hail the Activision Blizzard people that cheered for this deal. You guys, I hope that you can put your cheerleader outfits on again and really wear this one proudly. According to Sneaker SO's conversations with insider sources, Xbox has only been profitable during the second half of the Xbox 360 era. Since then, it has only shown profitability on paper due to the revenue added by Activision Blizzard in recent financial reports. This is something that so many of us have talked about. If they were so profitable, they would show the numbers. If things were in the green, they would show the numbers, and they obfuscate the numbers. They hide the numbers. They don't let us see what's actually going on with operational costs versus revenue generated to say, here's how much in the green we are. They consistently keep this sort of shrouded from anybody being able to see it. And Sneaker is saying, listen, they were only profitable during the second half of the 360 era. None of this is surprising. We all know what happened with Xbox One, and I even argued this morning, Xbox One was the beginning of Microsoft meddling with the gaming business, and when they did, this is sort of the shadow that we now live in, is that Microsoft has disrupted the entire gaming business, and now they're destroying it. If the Activision Blizzard acquisition hasn't been finalized, this is from Sneaker again, if it had not been finalized, Microsoft likely would have downsized Xbox, keeping only major studios like Mojang while shutting down or merging the rest. I said this in a video that's on my channel right now where I say this is devastating for Xbox, and I basically said, listen, what are we going to see in a couple of years? Are you literally just going to be like Minecraft, Call of Duty, and King Mobile? Like, is that all we're going to have left after this is all said and done? Yeah, well, it seems like that's a high likelihood. Sneakers believes that the only reason the Xbox brand still has its current appearance is because 10 to 20 million loyal users who renew their expensive Game Pass subscriptions. This recurring revenue is highly valuable for Microsoft, at least until it can transition Xbox into a smaller, more focused operation centered on blockbuster projects. Over the past 2 years, Microsoft has consistently laid off employees, canceled projects, and shut down teams every 3 to 6 months. Okay, so this is incredibly important right here, okay? This is extremely insightful to something I've talked about a lot recently. I advised caution earlier this week in a video that said, Xbox, proceed with caution. And I said, they consistently say things that are technically true in order to give a false impression. And one of the reasons I've continued to say that is, and one of the reasons they do the same thing with their showcases with roadmaps that are completely inaccurate and never come to fruition. They're completely misleading. Their roadmaps are a mirage. They show fake gameplay like they did with Fable, State of Decay, and now provably they did it with Perfect Dark. The reason they do that is to keep people satiated and subbed to Game Pass. They are painting a mirage on a blank canvas so that you think, oh yes, there are good days ahead. There are bright days ahead. It is a scam. They have been misleading you guys for this entire gen. They did it with the Series S. They privated the marketing. They've done it since. This right here, what Sneakers is saying, is exactly why you are being taken for a frickin' ride. And yes, the last 7 months have been incredible for Game Pass, but we're 5 years into the gen, and it took this long for the cadence in the games to actually heat up. You have wasted, I would argue, a pretty good amount of money this entire time being sold a bill of goods. That's just my opinion. You might think otherwise. You're the consumer, not me, but that's my opinion. He argues that this is a slow, deliberate death of Xbox, already planned out, even if it's never officially communicated to the public. According to Sneakers, Microsoft no longer values franchises like Halo the way it once did. Whether Halo is made by an internal team or outsourced doesn't matter to the current management. So, you might remember, they're saying, we don't care who makes Halo. I put up a video on this channel. It's got Halo on the thumbnail, and it says, nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred to Microsoft, and the evidence is clear in the way they treated Halo Infinite and the way they treated 343. Fans looked the other way, defended them to the brazen death, and here we are, and the proof is in the pudding. His final comments about Xbox and Activision Blizzard. There's a lot that needs to be said about what's been happening since the Xbox Activision Blizzard merger. Many focused only on Bobby Kotick and the board's intention to sell and how profitable it was. But no one realized or really asked how Activision Blizzard itself felt about the journey. Some believe the sale was due to civil lawsuits or the threat of criminal charges, which certainly played a role, but the core issue was that Activision Blizzard had passed its prime and the board knew it. It wasn't just that Blizzard faced major challenges or that COD profits were being undermined by technical debt and high production costs. The real issue was that Activision Blizzard had long since stopped diversifying its portfolio, relying on smaller number of guaranteed IPs. With the deal finalized, many Activision Blizzard execs found high-ranking roles within Microsoft as their leadership was viewed as more successful than Microsoft's internal teams. So, it's no surprise that Microsoft is now managing its portfolio in the exact same way that Activision Blizzard did. So, in other words, the people that said this was going to be good for consumers, the people that said this was going to be good for the developers and the employees, they were wrong. They were incorrect. Provably. This is not a matter of opinion. This is objectively true. The market has been harmed by this. Your options as a consumer has been harmed by this. Less studios, less games, less talent. This is what many of us said. So if you cheered for this deal, if you encourage people that it was going to be good and okay, and that it would benefit the employees, it would benefit the studios, that it would benefit the consumers, you were wrong. That's it. Hit like and subscribe if you're watching this later. Maybe we break this out for a highlight. I don't know. It's getting worse is basically what it is. It's getting worse. It ain't gonna get any better. That's what everything from Sneakers, that's what that sounds like to me. Could we get 400 likes on the video? Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me like it's about to get worse. The chat in Lono's stream right now. What? What? Sorry, I made everyone deaf with the song. I'm sorry. This demo, it is actually in engine. I was one of the 3 level designers that worked on it. It worked best if you played it in the way the person playing in the video plays it, but it still worked even if you didn't hit the marks perfectly. Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe that the Perfect Dark trailer was real. It was fake. It was 100% simulated. I don't buy it at all. They've consistently shown simulated in-engine gameplay. They did it with Perfect Dark. They did it with State of Decay. They did it with Fable. How could you argue they didn't do it with Fable? We had the same thing. We had some dev claiming it was gameplay of Fable, and it wasn't. Seven City is trying to summon the farty bomb. Thank you, Cat, for 52 months. That's a lot of months, Cat. And listen, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bump this to the this is what we're doing. We're doing a stretch to 700 for a Saturday stream. That's what we're doing. I want you guys to clearly know. I don't want anybody to think that I'm like doing some kind of a rug pull. It's a bit of a different week because of the holiday. So the only way I could justify a Saturday stream to Madam is we got to hit a little bit above what we typically hit. So like a 700. If not, we'll have to forego it because tomorrow night we will be at a 4th of July party. So if you have not hit like yet on YouTube, do me a favor and hit the like button. Phil said it was gameplay. Yeah, Phil also said just 4 games. Phil also said they had no plans to put Game Pass on PlayStation Nintendo because he wanted to dodge the question about first-party games coming over. Yeah. Yeah, Phil said a lot. Is that what your kids say when they heard Alona was being gassy? No, my daughter and my son came down to watch movies the one day, and they told me not to yell 50 bomb. Yo, what's good, Chris Toast? How are you? People still believe what Phil says. That's what I said today so many times. Like, how could you even believe them going forward? How? How could you believe them going forward? Oh, and also, not just how can you believe them going forward, like, who's going to want to go and work at a studio owned by them? Like, you talk about talent loss, you're going to have a talent drought. You're not going to be able to get, like, leadership or people that are like veterans in the industry to like want to go and work for a company like this. Are you kidding me? Like, what are we even talking about? Thank you, Dead, for 30 months of subs. Let me add you to the total here. A bit of a bloodbath, 160 to 20. We'll see if Purple can't get saved. 428. 428. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stone Spire. I know what Stone Spire's going to do. He's going to do 2 singles. He's going to bump this to 430. Right now, if you want to tag team dunk with him, get your 20 bomb ready. It's about to land. We're going to be at 430 in just a second. So let's see. It'll be our first 20 bomb of the day. We got a 50 bomb from Pathalon, but I don't think we've had a 20 bomb yet today. And Stone Spire is going to set it up, and he sets it up right now. All right, it's anybody's to grab. Purple, you could grab it. YouTube, you could grab it. Let's get it. I don't believe anything Xbox or Phil's has to say. As long as Fable is safe and it comes to PlayStation, I'll be happy. Here's my biggest concern, Christos, is that all remaining projects are going to be squeezed through this garden hose of, you better get this out. You got to use AI to get it out. This is also what I think happened. So I speculated this in my upload today. If you guys haven't watched my upload, I'll put a link to it in chat. Show it some support. Show it some love. I greatly appreciate all you guys that have been supporting the uploads recently. And share it with other people. It's like a 20-something minute rant, all right? Now, I speculate at the end of my video that these long-standing projects that were canceled, they weren't necessarily canceled because, oh yeah, we can't get it to market on time, we've taken too long. I think they were suddenly tasked with, no, that game needs to ship day and date on PlayStation. And they're like, what the frick? They're like, what do you mean? No, we're not doing that. And I think the longer standing games couldn't get the game into multi-plat status, and so they canceled it. That's what I think. That's what I think's going on. I think that the longer standing projects were the quickest to get the axe because they were not going to be able to make them multi-plat. And so all of the remaining projects, if they can't get them to a good multi-plat status, they're probably under threat as well. You think they were in development hell with no end in sight? That's also a possibility. It could be a bit of both, Hadigan. It could be a bit of both. Development hell, we need this thing to be multi-plat. Ain't no way it's going to be multi-plat. We can't even get this game ready right now. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if some of the development challenges were not just the management, struggles from Microsoft's, policies, but also just like Series S. If you're trying to make these like crazy, awesome, high-end next-gen games, the Series S is just going to be sitting there as a continual problem. Could we get 12 more likes on the video, guys? Thank you so much. Get us to 400 likes. Plenty of people hanging out today, making things work. Double check your primes on Purple. Double check your renewals on YouTube as well. You might have a membership that needs to be renewed. Helldivers 2 on Xbox destroys the Sony will block narrative. No, it doesn't. I don't think it does. I don't think it does, because I do think they're going to treat the tentpole titles as different, FCAT. I do. We're going to have to wait for commentary during during like an earnings call. We're going to have to see if Herman Hol speaks to this, because he very much has put these into two different buckets. Their strategy with the big tentpole titles is completely different. He talks about we have a dual approach. Like, their approach to bringing their tentpole titles to PC is to get people to come to the PlayStation, right? Like, that's the goal. You wouldn't argue that Helldivers is a tentpole title? You're not understanding the comments that I'm making if you're asking that question. When he breaks it down to the shareholders, Illuminati, he says, we take a dual approach. Live service games will be day and date and multi-platform. He's actually said this for years. He said big tentpole narrative-driven titles will come to PC later in the hopes that people want to get the sequel and come to PlayStation. So the big tentpole narrative-driven titles that they've been porting to PC, Returnal, Tsushima, God of War, Spider-Man, they're doing that in the hopes that it might get people to buy PlayStations. It is a console-centric strategy. It is not a strategy of like, oh, we want to become multi-plat, right? So, I would argue that they're not even in the same bucket as far as strategies goes, because that's quite literally what Herman Holst has said. He's like, we treat live service completely differently. The goal of a live service game is not to coax people to PlayStation. So that's why they're like, yeah, that's fine. You can put that over there. I also wonder if Arrowhead negotiated it. Arrowhead made it publicly clear they wanted Helldivers on Xbox. Arrowhead also recently made it clear their next game will not be published by PlayStation, and they said, oh, we're willing to work with them again in the future. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if they said, listen, if you want to work with us again on Helldivers 3, I'm just imagining they're negotiating that contract, they're like, we want Helldivers on Xbox. You know? So, I would say we need to hear from the earnings calls, the shareholder calls, because that's when they outline strategy changes, and there has been no strategy change from PlayStation signaled anywhere. They've talked about why they're still not putting their games on PS Plus day and date. They've talked about why they're putting games on PC. They've talked about why live service games are multi-plat. Is the next game Helldivers 3? No, it's not. No, the next game from them is not Helldivers 3. They said it's a new game. It's a new venture for them. So, it would not surprise me at all if that was the negotiation point with Arrowhead. They were like, listen, you don't own us as a studio. Yes, you own the IP. We would really like our game to be on the Xbox. Is my assumption as to what happened. Because they voiced that publicly. And they probably pushed for it. I was in support of it from the beginning. I was like, I'm okay if Helldivers goes to Xbox because it's a live service game, and live service games live and die on the player funnel. So, yeah, sure, put it over there. I never saw the business sense of it, and I hope I've been wrong about that. That'll be better for Arrowhead. That'll be better for Helldivers if it's financially successful over there and gets a bunch of people funneled into the player pool. Some of you guys have been using the question command today. Kino Man Sky says, do you think it's an Xbox problem or just a Microsoft problem? Isn't it just a regular 5% cut of workforce to increase for? I'm not even going to answer this question and educate you on how many people have been, laid off. That's not what we're here to do today. If you can't look at 9,000 plus people being laid off, studios being closed, and games getting canceled, and you're going to summarize it as, isn't this just a regular cut of workforce? It's not my job to educate you. Perfect Image says, so why again Kojima Productions went to Xbox where they were going to close them too? Why I'm confused. We're hearing rumors that the contract for OD, that game is apparently not happening or something. I don't even know. Has anybody actually spoken with authority about it? About whether or not the OD game has actually had its contract with Xbox? Has that actually happened? the third round of layoffs. It's the fourth round of layoffs in like 18 months from Xbox. Yes, from Microsoft. So I don't know if the OD game, I mean, has that been confirmed anywhere? OD Kojima Xbox canceled. We'll see if anybody's reported on this. 2 users are claiming that the Kojima Productions OD publishing contract with Xbox is over. Okay. It would be nice if any journalist can investigate true or false. The quotes, I'm hearing from the grapevine, so take this with the, hang on, let me zoom in here. So please take this with a big, potentially massive grain of salt. That Kojima's OD publishing contract with Microsoft might be up in flames. Kojima Productions owns the IP and will shop for a new publisher. Somebody responded and said, I have heard the same for a while now. $5 super chat from Jack Revolution. Jack Garland. Jack Revolution. I'd say Clockwork Revolution is a lock to come out. That's about it. Hopefully. It looked like they had done quite a bit of work on it. Johnny Always says, do you think the underlying fear to prove your revenue capabilities is a factor in the $80 pricing of Outer Worlds 2? I don't know. It wasn't even up to the devs. They said that publicly. It was Microsoft's call. Pan says, is PSSR being replaced by FSR4 next year? I need to look into that further. Mark Cerny seems to indicate that they are bringing the algorithm from... So what happened is PSSR helped the algorithm for FSR4, and it sounds like that is now going to come back and land on the PlayStation 5 Pro as well. So, and Mike on the mic jumps in as a VIP. Thank you so much, sir. Stone Spire set up the 20 bomb dunker to 450 and nobody took him up on it. I feel bad for Stone Spire some days. This guy he's in a volleyball match, always bumping and setting and no one's spiking. Appreciate you, Stone Spire. And Mike on the mic, as usual, doesn't just renew his membership, he pays it forward to somebody else and bumps the line to 432. Thank you so much, sir. Last question is here in the queue. Frank says, do you think Blade is on a short leash, or since it's Marvel, they'll get time and resources? I would argue that Blade is early enough that they're probably okay. It's also a good studio like Arcane Leon. I have confidence that they're not going to have any issue getting their game out. I think the main concern would be, are they going to start to really, really crack on these companies, and they're going to be like, listen, we need these games to come out at an unreasonable expectation. Like, Microsoft just demonstrated to the world that they don't give a frick about gaming. Right? They don't give a frick about gaming. So are they really going to care if they start sort of cracking down on these companies and they're like, get the game out, right? Hang on. I got to respond to this. Hang on. Okay. Love you, bro. What's good, Stone Spire? Rob Semsey, former 343 Industries Chief of Staff, and Samantha, Halo Studios graphic software engineer, were impacted by the layoffs. Both are now open to new opportunities. So those sound like some pretty high folks over there at Halo Studios getting let go. Yeah, more are coming. Yeah, it looks like more layoffs are coming from what people are saying. I used to love Xbox. This guy says here, Injeffable left a comment on my video. In November of 2001, I stood in line outside of Target. I never bought a PlayStation 2, 3, or 4 because I was an Xbox guy. My PS5 is now my main gaming platform. It is a sad tale for a lot of us. What I think one of the saddest things about this is, like, Injeffable makes this comment, you know, he was diehard, never bought PlayStations, and now he's maining PS5. I kind of went through the same process with the Xbox 360 to this gen, and you just get attacked by the most loyal Xbox guys. They just call you names, call me a grifter, call me a pony, and it's like, I don't know. That's probably one of the saddest parts about this, is that people turned it into, like, this opportunity to just personally attack people over, like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's just like me. Like, we were really disappointed. We didn't want to do any of this. You think Fable comes out at all? I don't know. Again, what I've said for a very long time is that even if all these games manage to come out, hang on. Even if all these games come out, the issue is going to be one of quality. And, like, I know me saying shipping a game at quality was confusing for some people, right? I know when your IQ matches your shoe size, it's hard to understand terms. But, like, Phil Spencer is the one that used that term. They wanted to ship a game every quarter at quality, right? Feature complete. A game that is considered a quality release. Like, and I was always saying, like, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I think you're going to stretch your studios too thin. You're going to stretch them too thin. It's going to be really, really difficult. People on Game Pass don't care about quality. And Brooklyn, this is why I said I think this is going to be a challenge for them, because they're no longer feeding Game Pass. If you're a publisher, you need people on Steam, PlayStation, and Nintendo to buy your games. And they're not going to if they come out in the state that, like, a Redfall or a Forza Motorsport. Like, that can't be what you deliver to the market. It can't be. This is why I said the other day, like, I reacted to Laura Fryer's video, and I was like, I don't agree with her that they're focusing on Game Pass. I don't think they are. I don't think Game Pass is where they make their money. If Game Pass was where they were making their money and what they were focusing on, you wouldn't shutter these studios. You'd push out whatever they had as fast as you could and just throw it on Game Pass. But the fact of the matter is, they need to make money. They need to publish these games and sell them on PlayStation, on Nintendo, on Steam. That's really hard to do if you're shipping out games that are crap. Like, let's just do this. You just want to do it? Forza Motorsport Steam. You want to just look at Forza Motorsport on Steam? Let's just take a gander. At one of their tentpole titles. Wow, that's phenomenal. You can't do this, right? Oh, it's good enough for Game Pass. Well, it ain't good enough for anybody over on any other platform that wants to value their dollars to a game delivery. You remember the Last of Us Part 1 port? You remember the Spider-Man 2 port? Do you want to look at those on Steam? You know what's interesting? Their scores turned around. Gee, I wonder why. You're talking about different companies with different values. Different companies with different values. This thing's just sitting here with just an embarrassing score. That's how Microsoft treats games. So you can't do that as a publisher. You'll get eviscerated. You'll lose tons of money. What's the difference between Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon? Completely different studios. One's Turn 10, one's Playground. One launched very early this gen, one didn't. And, you know, one launched like halfway through. So that's playing a role. I've been going for 2.5 hours, boys. I need a quick break. We just hit 400 likes, which is amazing. Let's try to hit 500 before the day is over on members. So make sure and check your primes. Make sure and check your resubs. I am going to take a quick break, and I'll hit ads on both platforms. If the ads get too bad on YouTube, guys, let me know. I can pause them, but I'll be right back. All right. That's fine.
So that's what he's doing right now. He did the original quotes, and then he said, would you like me just to give you a quote for replacement? I said, if that's one of the options, he's going to do it.
Okay.
We're not stuck with that.
Okay.
Come on, step up.
Madam says sub up. The air conditioner guy's here, and I guess the unit outside is not this old. The unit inside, I guess, is like 20 years old.
He was like, whoa.
And I guess there's cracks that
Heating part.
in the heating part that she had to sign that she'd been told about the cracks, because I guess it's like
Carbon monoxide poisoning is a big problem.
it could lead to carbon monoxide poisoning, and
Or kitchen air.
they would be legally like liable. So we have to acknowledge that we've been told about it, or burning the house down.
The biggest issue would be carbon monoxide. You can't have
Thank you so much, XCal, for 37 months. It's gonna be expensive. Yeah.
Who said that?
Somebody,
Don't need that negativity around here.
somebody in chat says it's gonna be expensive.
That's rude to us.
So the stuff we had done to this, the roof is obviously helping, but the actual unit itself,
He said what we had done to the roof. He's like, yes, it should have been done.
it probably needs replaced.
He's given us multiple choices.
Your thoughts on Helldivers coming to Xbox now?
Thanks for changing the subject.
I have been in full support of that since the beginning. Like the launch week of the game, I said I would be okay with that because live service games live and die by the funnel. I never saw the business sense of it. I hope the Xbox crowd proves me wrong. I feel like that crowd, I don't know, is less apt to buy games. Helldivers might have a different vibe. I don't know. Thank you so much, Wired Rope, for 5 members. He says, feed the funnel. That's right, feed the funnel. 438 on the day. So, yeah. Do all the things. Hit like. Share the stream. You know? Yeah. Do all the things. Yeah, it's natural gas. I am never going to get the full house generator that I want. I'm never going to get it. I want it so badly, and any money I'm setting aside for it is likely just going to continue to get spent on the roof and now this. Oh, I want that. I want the whole house Jenny so bad, but it's never going to happen, chat. Oh gosh. Swoozy with 22 months says, "Loan a quick breakdown in response to Helldivers going to Xbox. Just got here." You just got me saying it, Swoozy, to Ghost Hunter. Yeah, I really do hope they prove me wrong. You guys know I'm on record saying that, like, if you were going to have to support different versions of Helldivers 2, it would make more sense to build one for PS4. Because there's like 60 million people still booting up their PS4, and there's only like 30 million Xbox Series consoles in circulation. So, Cracks in the Heat Exchanger. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you've already wishlisted it? I hope tons of people buy it and support it. It's a great game and a great studio. So, it cost you $4,000 to replace yours. The inside unit, I think he threw out a number of 7. It'd be about $7,000. I know it needs replaced. I can tell it's not adequately cooling the house. I can tell it's not. So, Eugene. What did Eugene say? I think you read Ashen and thought it was Eugene talking. Raphael McCoy gifts a single member. Thank you so much. Oh, that's a nice setup, Raphael. We're a 10 bomb away from 450. Who is going to snag it? Is it going to be Team Purple or Team Red? Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, golly. Home ownership, brothers. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. I don't want to complain. I do not want to complain. It's a blessing. Just never fun. Never fun for stuff like that to happen, you know? Yours like AK, it's carry model. Yeah. Question, what do you have on thoughts on Mafia of the Old Country? I think Mafia of the Old Country looks very good, very promising. I like the vibe. I like the tone, the voice acting, the writing. It could be a Game of the Year contender. It could be. I think it'll land mid to upper 80s Metacritic, OpenCritic, just from what we've seen. So yeah, and Raphael does another one, and then Pathalon Phoenix drops the 10 bomb. That's an Agent of Chaos right there. Nobody really does that often. An Agent of Chaos 10 bomb, and there it is. And this becomes 123 to 26. You're only about 100 members behind Purple, so a 100 bomb would put you in the lead. You know, that's all. I had the privilege of DIYing some plumbing yesterday. Oh, gosh. You just got done paying off your AC and furnace. Now you're working on the roof. It's rough. It's rough out here, boys. It's rough out here. Never fun. Never fun when stuff like this happens. It is, it's just the nature of the existence of homes. It's just what they do, you know? Stuff breaks down. Purple's getting spanked. They are. They're getting spanked. Let's go through some more of the comments on the video. That's why Sony only shows games that are close to release dates. Except Wolverine. I cry. Except Wolverine. I cry. I cry about that. We need some. I know they're building it still. And Wilbur does a 10 bomb and gets us to 461. Thank you so much, Wilbur, for throwing support behind the stream and getting some more people in the door. We've really turned it around today, guys. Thank you so much. Wolverine needs some love. Mind's Eye will be relaunched. CEO blames saboteurs. I don't even know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. Like, what on earth? Who sabotaged the game? And if they are they still at the company? Are they still there? Have they fired them? Have they laid them off? Let's just read it. Let's just read it. Insider Gaming has the report. Yeah, Leslie Benzies also said that I don't think we could have worked longer, harder, or put as much blood and guts or sweat into it. Mind's Eye will... Here, let's go... hang on. Let me make this a little bit larger here. There we go. Mind's Eye will be relaunched as CEO blames saboteurs. All right, so let's take a look at this one here. Okay, so it has been suggested by Build a Rocket Boy CEO Leslie Benzies that Mind's Eye, the shamed failure of a game that was released last month, will be relaunched as reviews continue to plummet. It has also been claimed by Build a Rocket Boy employees that the CEO once again blames saboteurs for the demise of Mind's Eye, echoing something his co-CEO said several weeks ago. In the days after Mind's Eye was released, it became regarded by the numbers as the worst-rated game of 2025. Now, in statements obtained by IGN, it was claimed that Leslie Benzies, former president of Rockstar North, addressed the company following the horror release of Mind's Eye. In some ways, Mind's Eye was touted as being a GTA killer, but what was produced fell flat drastically fast and became a laughingstock in the industry. Yes, and there were many of us that tried to draw attention to this and warn people, and I had somebody leave a comment, and they said, nobody should have purchased that game, they should have seen all the red flags. And I always try to say, listen, there are a lot of gamers that are either optimists, or they just see a trailer, and they're just trusting. Now, you could say that they shouldn't be trusting, you could say that they should have more, skepticism, or that they should be more discerning, and I think that's totally fine, but I don't think we should be blaming the consumer. I think you blame the developers in these situations, okay? And yes, there were many of us that tried to draw attention to the fact that the trailers looked kind of off and something was amiss. I said this from the very first trailer during that one event, and I said there's something off. And a lot of you guys agreed, and a lot of you guys didn't agree. So even in this community, I had people that did not agree with me, all right? Even Alex Hernandez, the game's lead performer, suggested that the game should never launch in an unfinished state, okay? Here's what's taken from the IGN report. All right. Build a Rocket Boy sources told IGN that Benzies finally addressed staff following the release of Mind's Eye in a brief video call yesterday, July 2nd. According to two people present who asked not to be named in order to protect their careers. Yeah, I mean, this guy's out here being like... He's like a paranoid Caesar at this point. Nobody wants to cross him, He insisted that Build a Rocket Boy would bounce back and relaunch Mind's Eye, blaming the studio and the game's struggles on internal and external saboteurs, among other things. What? Who sabotaged your game? Who? And find them and fire them. Don't just say it in a video call. In May, Mark Garrard, the co-CEO of Build a Rocket Boy, went on record suggesting that people were being paid to talk negatively about Mind's Eye. Nobody was being paid to talk negatively about your game. It looked like crap to anybody with discerning eyeballs. More positive people or more trusting people in your corner, they're the ones that should be even more angry with you. They should be even more furious. No, none of us were paid to hate your game. I thought it looked bad from the beginning. When he was asked if someone was financing all the negative feedback, he said 100%. Yeah. Well, apparently, I missed out on those payments. Apparently the checks went to the wrong house because I didn't get a single dime for hating on your crap game. I guess I should be talking to somebody else instead of just my audience. I should have been talking to Rockstar. Recently, vast swaths of workforce at Build a Rocket Boy advertised a risk of redundancy on social media. Dozens of employees popped up on LinkedIn to stress their roles are at a precipice, adding extra strain on the industry, which has just been hit by Microsoft's 9,000 strong wave of redundancies. Do you think Mind's Eye could be successfully relaunched? No, it couldn't be successfully relaunched. No. This is like the people spreading the rumor that Concord could launch again. It's like nobody has any confidence in these games. They are disasters. First impressions mean a lot. It's why I think Marathon will likely never see the light of day, and if it does, it'll flop. And there's no way to bring this game back from where it has come. Okay, there are games that have had 2.0 moments and turnaround moments. You know, Cyberpunk, Rainbow Six Siege, and No Man's Sky, right? We've had seen plenty of games have their big comebacks, right? There's enough of a framework and enough of a game to build upon. This game doesn't have a framework worthy of building upon. Its framework is nothing. It's vacant. It's vapid. Go watch my video about the truth about Mind's Eye. Okay, it's bigger than Mind's Eye. It's about their game called Everywhere. Be sure to check it out. We might start using some of these segments as videos, so I'll do little breaks at the end just like that. There's such a bigger story. There's such a bigger story going on with Mind's Eye. People are worried about Elder Scrolls 6 in the comments. Xbox will become the live service company. I mean, maybe. Maybe they'll just strip everything down to just the live service games. How long until we see industry innovators crushed under Microsoft? Who's next? Scary to think about. Nobody is safe. It is. It's scary to think about. Like, nobody's safe. I mean, Sneaker basically said that, like, if you think you're working on a sacred cow, you're not. Sven says, as someone who lost 90% of his team over the last 2 years, this hits especially hard. Mismanagement affecting people's livelihood. Indeed, Sven. Indeed. Surprise to no one, but hey, at least they're getting Helldivers too, I guess. Yeah, what a shadow. What a shadow over a cool thing that has happened. You know? What an enormous shadow over something cool that has happened. Like Helldivers comes to Xbox and this giant shadow is cast over it. Because, you know, Xbox is just a freaking disaster. I knew the Perfect Dark footage was fake. Sad to see it canceled. Yeah, I don't believe this thing. Okay. Do your appointment. Hang on, what is this? Has been scheduled. Oh, is he coming back? I wonder if he's coming back. She said he was going to send me a bunch of quotes. Here it is. Appointment confirmation. He must be coming back. He just scheduled another appointment, I guess. I don't know. Do you think this was always the plan when they did the ABK acquisition? Phil said ABK was the accelerant to their strategy. I mean, Phil said this isn't our strategy, it's the accelerant to our strategy. Crispy Bogart says, I'm so glad I bailed on Xbox 2 years ago. I saw the writing on the wall. A lot of us got out. We knew. I knew. I was like, why would I just be hanging around here? Why would I continue to support them? Why would I continue to give them my money? It appears more PlayStation exclusives are coming to Xbox and vice versa. The shift signifies a move towards greater platform interpolarity with both companies. I completely disagree with that take. I don't think Helldivers coming to Xbox signals that at all, given that in 3 earnings calls and multiple interviews now, PlayStation has made it crystal clear they will treat live service games differently. They will not start bringing their big tentpole narrative-driven titles to Xbox. That will not happen. I will be absolutely in disbelief if they do that. Their strategy has continually been laid out as the big titles coming to PC is to motivate people to come to PlayStation. If what you're saying is true, then the strategy they have signaled to shareholders 3 different times now is either a lie or it just changed yesterday. I don't think that that's true. I don't. I think Helldivers coming to Xbox is good, but I also think live service games play by completely different rules, and Herman Holst literally said this to shareholders multiple times, that live service games are part of a 2-pronged strategy. It's a completely different bucket. It's a completely different approach. It's a different budget. It's different investment. I do not think this signals anything. It doesn't. Not tentpole, but Horizon Lego went to the Switch. He says big tentpole narrative-driven titles. Horizon Lego is not a tentpole title. It's a Lego game, and Lego probably in the negotiation said you are going to want this game to be on Nintendo. We're not going to do this if it doesn't go to Nintendo, because they probably sell a ton more copies on Nintendo of their games. Danny with 19 months, do you think Helldivers 2 port might be meant to help mitigate some of the losses? I have no idea about Marathon. No, it's completely disconnected from other things with Marathon. I believe Arrowhead signaled they wanted the game on Xbox and likely negotiated it with PlayStation, and so Nixus ported it. I don't think it has anything to do with Marathon or losses. That's not how these companies operate. Oh crap, we might lose money on Marathon. You better put Helldivers on Xbox. Like, that's not how decisions like this are made. Also, Marathon's being published by Bungie, and Bungie operates independent of PlayStation. So the operational cost of Bungie, yes, is shouldered by PlayStation, but they don't view it in the way that you're viewing it. Like, well, we're going to lose money on Marathon. We better move Helldivers. And then a VIP renewal from James. 36 months, that's 3 whole years. I'd like to be excited for Helldivers, but not after yesterday. And that's going to bump the line to 463. Thank you so much, boys. Nice strong day. Nice strong. Oops. That is incorrect. It's going to be 135. There we go. There was a tip. Sorry. Super chat tip coming in from Leslie Benzies. I know you were paid to unfairly criticize my game. I'm now leaving Build a Rocket Boy and moving to a corporation with more integrity. Hello, Microsoft Gaming. Thank you so much for the super chat tip, you nut. Perfect Image left a comment on my video and says it sucks, but I'm now worried about Kojima Productions. I don't know why they went to Xbox. Hearing that contract is dead. Waiting for confirmation or denial. Yeah, we're hearing that contract's dead. The 9,000 is Microsoft, not Xbox. Xbox is supposedly around 1,000. Who reported this? I've seen everybody else reporting the opposite. Looks like Sony is caving and letting their golden goose get cooked by bringing a popular Sony published game like Helldivers 2 to a dead platform like Xbox. I don't even have time for people like you. Okay. A bunch of people got laid off, and we're losing studios, and we're losing property. Let me console war about a live service game coming to Xbox. Okay. Well done. 9,000 is Microsoft-wide, not just Xbox. Xbox is affected in the 9,000. Oh, well, I mean, all the headlines were saying 9,000. So, I mean, we 9,000 reduction was what we were seeing. So... and it's not over. So, in the grand scheme of things, if you add up all of the times this has happened in the last 18 months, what is the total would be my question. In 18 months, how many people have they laid off in Xbox? Isn't there more coming? Yeah, and according to Sneaker and others, there's more coming. This is just the beginning. Okay. He scheduled another appointment. Maybe because he's been here so long. It says today from 12 to 2.
Oh, he's scheduling it's all included.
Okay.
The cost of it. He sent me all the fixing prices.
Uh-huh.
It's like, do you want us the cost of a replacement? Does it bind us in the agreement? And he's like, no, it's just giving me the cost of that. And I said, then you probably should do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so some people just want to keep making minor fixes because it's cheaper than replacing the whole thing. So then we might as well just do that, because if that's the end goal, we need to see all of what we have to expect.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to drop this much money when how long will it last? So
Okay.
I didn't know he was gonna do that, but he said for it now that probably is what he meant.
Okay. Xbox has removed the Contraband announcement trailer from the official YouTube channel. So it sounds like Contraband by Avalanche Studios has also been canceled. He's definitely charging you for another. No, this is the company that I paid the VIP thing to. The VIP, like everything he's doing today doesn't cost me anything. When they came to do the plumbing, he's like, if you sign up for a year of our VIP, he's like, I take that amount of money off of your bill. He's like, so it's a wash. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I just kind of cashed in on it because today would have cost me quite a bit to have him come out and check everything. C. Lou with the $5 super chat tip says, do you think PlayStation doesn't look at Xbox as a competitor anymore? It's definitely a weird move from Sony. I don't think it's a weird move from Sony because it's a live service game. I think they have said from the beginning that live service games will be multi-platform, and I don't think it's weird to be like, our most successful live service endeavor, let's increase the profitability on it. Like Helldivers has been their most successful endeavor yet, and then Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls. It wouldn't shock me at all if Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls launches on PC and PlayStation initially, and then like a year later they port it to Xbox. I don't like, where's the downside? The porting cost is so minimal. The porting cost is so minimal. Like, you only, that's one of the reasons why they probably don't agree with my take that it's not a smart business move, because they're like, well, the porting cost is not that expensive. I guess my question would be, who is going to be handling the patches and the version control of the Helldivers 2 installs on the Series S and the X? Is Arrowhead going to be having to shoulder that? Like if they push out patches, bugs, fixes, bug fixes and things like that, who's having to do that? That was always my concern, was that if you're suddenly having to support Helldivers on Series S and X, will that justify, will you be able to justify that with enough engagement? That was always my business, like, look at it. I was like, I don't know. That seems like you would, they literally didn't want to spread the team too thin in the early days, but they also didn't want to overreact and overhire. Like, they came out and actually said that, like, we're not just going to overhire here and just react like a crazy person and basically put themselves into an even worse spot, which I thought was actually rather smart. Now the Xbox is in the picture. Do you think Sony is either going to higher or lower prices on console and games? I pray for it to be lower. Huh? I don't understand your question. Are you asking if Sony's going to lower their prices? I think they negotiated that Helldivers 2 can't be on Game Pass. Well, right. I don't think it's going to be on Game Pass. I think that in general they are looking to expand the potential reach of the game, which is that's exactly what you should do. I mean, it's a live service game. I said from the beginning, putting it on Xbox would be perfectly fine. I just never saw the business angle of it. You know what I mean? There's 60 million people still playing PS4s, and they skipped over PS4, but you're going to port it to a 30 million, footprint platform. I also think they're just appeasing Arrowhead. It's a unique scenario. It's not a PlayStation first-party studio, okay? PlayStation owns the IP, but Arrowhead is the studio that made it, and PlayStation doesn't own them. So there could be negotiation power there. I don't know. This is not like God of War landing on Xbox. That would be insane. That would be a complete jettison of the strategy that PlayStation has outlined. I don't see that happening. Porting from PC to Xbox Series isn't a huge jump. PS4 has a hard drive. It's a different beast. This is true. This is true. This to me is very unique. It's not like Santa Monica being tasked with putting, God of War on Xbox. This is a company that PlayStation doesn't own, voicing their interest in putting their game on Xbox, and then a porting company that PlayStation owns is porting it. So they're treating it like PC ports. They're treating it in the way that they treat like a live service game in general too, like a multi-platform strategy. Herman Hol said this from the beginning, that they would be making their live service games multi-plat, and the purpose there obviously is a live service game's health is dependent upon the player funnel. they'll go day and date on PC before they go full third party. They're not even equipping their studios to do that. That would be another signal, wired rope, that the strategy is changing. So right now, a lot of these guys that they've made their just pretty bad and consistently wrong, predictions that like PlayStation's going to follow Xbox. There's no sign of that because all of the PlayStation studios would be hiring and structuring around parallel development. Because if you were going to start shipping your games day and date on PC, you would be building up your studios to do that. They're not doing that. They're still using porting companies like Nixxes to bring the games later. And that right there is a sign that the strategy is not changing. If you tell the shareholders this is how we're doing it, and the companies continue to operate as they are, they're not hiring, they're not restructuring, they're not bringing in folks for parallel development of the property, well then again, I think that tells you all you need to know. I'm curious what made Sony say, sure, F it, why not? There's probably a handful of reasons. It's a live service game. I mean, Arrowhead recently said that their next game is not being published by Sony, but they'd be happy to work with Sony in the future. I would say that's Arrowhead flexing a little bit publicly. I wouldn't be surprised if they basically came to the table in negotiations and said, listen, we would really like our game to be on Xbox. And because we'd like our game to be on Xbox, if you want us to work on this with you, work with you guys, on the next, oh, here we go, estimates, on our next game or whatever, then we would like the game to go over to Xbox. And PlayStation probably said that's probably worth it in negotiation. Again, I'm speculating, but you got to think about what Arrowhead has done. They've publicly said they would like it to come to Xbox. They've publicly said that they're not presently working on a new project with PlayStation, but they'd be open to do it. Okay, those two things kind of feel like Arrowhead is saying, hey, PlayStation, let's make this happen. Okay, replace blower motor capacitor. That's a Band-Aid repair. 400. Clean condenser coil. 500. Comfort advisor. New equipment pricing. $0. What? Replace heat exchanger. Band-Aid repair. 4,000. Holy mackerel. I think he's going to be adding to the document. Good golly. These are all Band-Aid repairs. New equipment and pricing. Oh, this is a $0 invoice because they're saying I guess they'll come out and advise on a whole new unit. Good golly. Yikes. Okay. It makes sense they're trying to figure out live service, more data, more platforms. Goat Gaming, what's up, man? Sources say Nixxes is working on a God of War release for Xbox. Shut the frick up. Get multiple quotes. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, they've even sent me the liability release regarding discovered hazardous condition attached to the heating and air. Holy mackerel. He's at it again. Yeah, Go Gaming's out here at it again. Time for another sponsor for a month or two. Kidding, maybe. I've not done any sponsor. I mean, we work with companies like Into the AM and Sprecher and Gamer Advantage and Control, but like those are like commission kickbacks that, yeah. Tell them someone quoted you and you want their quote. Yeah, I might have to play the game. I might have to play the game a little bit. I'll text my guy that does construction. He recommended the roofing guy, and I'll say, hey, do you got an HVAC guy that you trust? You know? I know for a fact replacing the entire thing's not going to be cheap. Like the $7,000 number that he tossed out, that's probably, I mean, that's probably not exorbitant. That's probably pretty accurate from what you guys put in chat. Yeah. Replace what? So the unit outside's not old, but the unit inside's like 20 years old. Like the whole heating and air unit, and it's got cracks that they have to send a liability notice that we signed, that they warned us about it. Because once we start using it in the summer for heat, it could lead to a fire or carbon monoxide poisoning. Furnace and blower, yes. Yeah, furnace and blower needs basically replaced. Super Googly with the super chat says, not gonna lie, I haven't turned on my Series X for more than a year now. My Switch 1 got more playtime than my Series X. Having a 5090 PC and PS5 doesn't help. Thank you, Googly. Just YouTube it. You got this. Thanks, Nick. How are you, Nick Shot? Oh my gosh. You and Roadkill made the same joke. Yeah, just watch some YouTube videos. You and your wife can figure it out. DIY it. That's right. 7K is probably right, depending on the size. Yeah. Well, and I know it would be worth it. I know it would be worth it. Like every summer, having an AC unit that actually does its dadgum job instead of like running all day. Like, you know what I mean? And then again, the risk of fire and carbon monoxide, that kind of means it isn't a choice. You know what I mean? That makes it not a choice. It's like, well, that puts my family in jeopardy. So it's no longer a choice. That's like duty at that point. That falls into a different category. How are you? I'm good, man. How are you? Not great news from the HVAC guy that came to check on my unit, but glad to know that, you know, there's some pretty serious problems. And you have it all on tape now? Well, they make you sign the thing. Like, they literally, my wife had to sign things. You have to sign this because you have been made aware of it. So, yep. See my comment about Helldivers on Game Pass? Helldivers on Game Pass makes no sense anyway. They'd have to keep it there indefinitely or pull the game and put it under for a while. After people have invested money in it, it won't be on Game Pass. No, I don't think putting it on Game Pass would make any sense. Yeah. NorCal Garbage Man here. I feel your pain. I'm going to be going through the same thing. They stopped making the Freon for my AC unit, which means I need a whole new unit. Oh, man. Doesn't that suck, bro? Because, like, refilling the Freon's not that big of a deal. Can't wait for the stream when Lono has to thank someone for gifting an entire AC unit that shows up to his house. That's right. How old is you? Oh, you're asking him. Morning stream tomorrow? Yeah, we'll do a stream tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'll be streaming with Hilly in the afternoon. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see what the day holds because we're going to a thing at 4, so I'll probably shut down around 3 to get ready. So that's enough time to do something with Hilly. I ain't rich like that. Sorry, Lono. No. No. I don't do that. I don't do like a goal to help me pay for something. You know what I'm saying? The level of transparency I give you guys is not about that. It's usually like, hey, I'm able to do this full time because you guys support directly, right? That's why I impress upon people like Do Member Plus. I'm never going to be like, oh, I have a financial need. Can you guys pay for it? That's on me to figure out. That's not on you guys to subsidize, I guess would be the word. I have to figure that out, right? Like, this is what I do for a living. Your direct funding is the primary means by which I do it. And then I have to make those judgment calls on my own on, do I do it? Do I wait? You know, do we do a half measure now and something more extreme later? That's my responsibility, not yours. I brought it up before, but have the games on Game Pass for a month or two, give the people a taste for the game. Yeah, I don't think Xbox would ever want to do that, though, because that really sort of corrupts the value offer. If people started feeling like they were, like, baiting them with Game Pass. Like, oh, it was on there for a month, and then they took it away, and now we all have to buy it, right? I think people would view that as, like, a manipulative use of the service, and I think that would create a negative connotation around Game Pass. So I don't think Xbox would be in support of that. Does that make sense? So, have you donated some members? I mean, you guys supporting the channel based on, you know, your enjoyment of the content or wanting to support, like, things that I, you know, have to do. That's your own choice. I just sort of allow things like that to be heard because, like, that's just a level of, like, you guys know that I've got kids. You know that, like, you know, Madam and I stream and have fun with you guys and answer questions about, like, life as a streamer. Like, that's just a level of transparency that I think is something I've always done. A hot tub stream? I mean, that might help pay for it. I don't know. I'm not doing a hot tub stream. I think we agreed that if we got to, what was the number? 10,000 paying subs, I would do a hot tub stream. Yeah, because that's like life-changing. That's like life-changing. 10,000 paying subscribers. Goodness gracious. I wonder for Helldivers 2 if your progress from playing on PlayStation or PC carries over. Oh, yeah, I don't know if they'll do cross-progression. Do they do cross-progression right now between PlayStation and PC? I've actually never even looked into this. I've never needed to. Do you have to do, like, the PlayStation Sync account thing in order to do that? Is that what you have to do? Every single review site needs to have a moderator because this is pathetic. Wait, people are already review bombing Superman? Why would they be review bombing Superman? I think Man of Steel went through the same thing. People are very picky about Superman in particular. I think he's one of the harder superheroes to make movies with because everybody has an idea of, like, what Superman should be like. I think people have stronger opinions about him than, like, any other hero. You can do interpretations of, like, Spider-Man and Batman and all the others, and people are more open to, like, different versions, but, like, man, Superman, people get very, very, like, persnickety. Do a hot tub stream now and wear an American flag Speedo. They will pay for your repair. That'll pay for your repair. The Snyder Cult called to review bomb. Oh, that's right. I remember those weirdos were, like, calling for a review bomb. That's right. I remember seeing that. The link account is an option, and you can play with PS5 with crossplay. Well, no, I know crossplay was in existence. I was asking about cross progression. What is the joking emote that we have? Oh, what? Lono Kappa? I kind of consider you a friend, even though we've never met, along with others in this community. Yeah, I've always felt that level of, you know, camaraderie with you guys. Like, we sit and hang out every day. We're trying to pay for things, not owe more money. Y'all chill with this hot tub, says Creature. Sorry I'm late to the show, but I heard that Xbox laid off thousands again. We don't know the exact number. It'll save you on PS. It will save on PC to PS5 if you link your account. Okay. So it does. Okay. Wait, there is no cross progression? I don't understand. People in chat are saying that it will. Another document just came through. Okay, let's see. Full system AC and furnace best efficiency. Dear Lord. Okay. Yeah. 71. 7100. I just did the daggum roof. Between the roof and this, that's what the full house Jenny would have cost. Why review bombing? Warner Brothers could see as that you'll have no interest in Superman and no Superman movies going forward. I'm going to Bettyville, Kentucky soon to kayak in a cave. Haven't know anything about funning around Bettyville? No. I don't know anything about it. Get serious when he takes his glasses off. My eyes have betrayed me. I'm an old man now. This is a super low prescription. Very, very minimal. I have good eyesight. My prescription's so weak, I'm allowed to drive without my glasses, but the glasses interfere with me looking at anything close up. Like a book or a phone, like right here, I have to take my glasses off. New roof and furniture good for a long time. The roof is actually not that old. It's only like 4 or 5 years old, but I had to have like vents put in, and my eaves weren't vented. That's one of the reasons the house is getting so hot. Still have to wait, but furnace and blower are definitely part of why temps are hard to keep down. I can go into certain parts of the home and I can tell that the blower is just not doing its job. The biggest reason to get rid of it is because of the cracks. We had to sign something saying they made us aware of the cracks because of the danger it poses. So once we start using the heat in the winter, it's a danger. So gas bill's never that bad during the winter, actually. No. Games are art, and AI taking over artist jobs to cut many people out of jobs sends me over the edge. Hate how Microsoft's misusing AI. Bifocal time. I'm not about to ask Gamer Advantage to send me all my current frames with bifocals. I just take my glasses off or go like that. How old's your unit? 20 years. 20 or more. I thought he replaced it when we bought the house. It was new. The outdoor unit is only like 5 or 6 years old. The blower inside is not. A Stone Spire. I know what he's doing. This guy is so faithful, and nobody gave him his 20 bomb, so he's asking for a 10 bomb. He just bumped the line with 2 singles to 465. He wants it to hit 475. He does. He does. And right now, I think I owe YouTube. Do I owe you 10 more? I can't even remember what I owe you guys now. Because I already did the 10, didn't I? I already did the 10, and you guys kept going. So if the rest is new except for the blower, why not just the blower? The heater, there's a crack somewhere in the heater that's a risk. It could cause a fire or carbon monoxide poisoning in the winter. So they're saying do the whole thing. Band-Aid fixes, the one Band-Aid fix is like $4,000. It's like, well, for frick's sake, that sounds like an expensive Band-Aid. You didn't hear that? I might not have said it since you've been here. I've been talking about it touch and go for the last little bit. Oh yeah. A newer one would be far more efficient. Mm-hmm. The furnace and blower are the same unit usually. They sent a thing. They can go in and just do the blower. They can. But once you're spending that much, to me, that's dumb to spend. If you're debating between 4 and 7, and the 4 is a Band-Aid and the 7 is a full replacement, half measures are typically not worth it. Because that 4 is going to turn into a 7 eventually, which is then 12. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, replace the blower, but then the heater has the problem it has, to the point that like it's a danger. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, that removes choice. The minute you say it puts my family in danger, it's no longer a choice. You know what I mean? Four plus 7 is 11. I was rounding up with taxes because it's not just 4. Sorry, I was actually rounding up from the papers that I saw. It's like 71 and like 46. So I was just rounding up. Sorry. I know that 4 and 7 is 11. I was saying it's 12 because I've got a 46 and a 7100 facing me. So that would be 11.8. That's 12. Simple solution. Where goes in the winter? I'm not an accountant, but oh wait, yes I am. Something tells me the sales of Helldivers 2 on Xbox won't justify the port. I'm of two minds about it. It is kind of a game that I feel like that Halo crew, that like live service crew, Call of Duty crew would kind of vibe with. I just don't know if the price point's enough of a barrier to prevent that from happening. What could have possibly hijacked the stream away from Xbox layoffs? Yeah, honestly, we probably should just go to Green Room because, we said what we were going to say. It's disappointing. It's irritating. You know, nobody with any sense is trying to really argue the other side of it. I mean, a couple of weirdos came in and were trying to act like it wasn't a big deal, but like, yeah, just put a burn barrel in each room. That's right. Michael Madsen passed away? 67? What the frick? What happened? Was he sick or something? That's young. Michael Madsen, Mr. Blonde. I have to run. Hope we have a good rest of the stream. Thank you so much, Nick Shot. Oh, popped my ankle. That felt so good. Xbox plus Xbox equals Game Pass. Removes Xbox Live. PlayStation plus PlayStation equals PS Plus. Huh? I have no idea what you're saying. I have no idea what you're trying to communicate. Technically, it was not a big deal. We kind of saw the writing on the wall. I mean, I said multiple times today that this was bigger than I expected it to be, especially because it's not over. According to law enforcement sources, someone called 911. They responded and found him dead. Cause of death is unclear. We're told his death is being treated as natural causes. Okay. It's a math game. Xbox plus Xbox equals Game Pass. Remove Xbox Live. PlayStation plus PlayStation equals PS Plus. I don't understand how the game works. Only bad part is when you replace the new unit, won't last 20 years. Oh, the new unit won't last 20 years. Right. Yeah. Older units, older appliances and stuff definitely have longer life cycles, yeah. Phil Spencer should be crazy. He lies like crazy. I'm sorry. Phil Spencer should be fired. He lies like crazy. I'm thinking about what we should do. I wanted to give you guys a chance to extend because Stonespire did set it up to get to 475 with the 10 bomb. Nobody took him up on the offer. This guy's been setting him up lately. Nobody's helping him out. But I kind of feel like we should go to Green Room because we've definitely got some stuff to chop up and figure out what we should do with as far as shows and videos because there's a lot that's happening. Helldivers is obviously one of the things going on. Anthem servers are shutting down in 2026. Perfect Dark getting the axe is a big deal. It's one of my all-time favorite games on the Nintendo 64. They may sell some of the IPs now. Yeah, I mean, I think that Sneaker saying that if you think you're working on a sacred cow, you're not is pretty worrying. My HVAC guy said they're forcing the outside units to change to online units that you can repair online and not have to call. How would you repair something online? I don't understand. Yeah, Superman's out on the 11th. That's not how any of that works. Yeah, I don't know how you would repair an AC unit from online. I mean, maybe they're saying they want them to be online so they can do a diagnostic and then they know what to bring. They're like, oh, you need Freon. Oh, your condenser needs charged or whatever the one thing is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could run like a diagnostic and not have to come there to do the diagnostic so then they know who they should send and what they should send. But you can't like fix something like that remotely. The Rematch devs are outlining bans for griefing, cheating, and toxic behavior. Griefing. Players intentionally disrupting matches by voluntarily assisting the other opposing team or scoring own goals are now subject to temporary bans for 3 days. Toxic behavior. Players engaging in abusive language, threats, or persistent harassment will face bans ranging from 3 to 7 days. And then obviously cheating or indefinite bans. Yeah, I mean, it's sad that even needs to be stated. But that's just the thing people are going to do in a game like that. They're going to get bored, and then they're going to start being toxic. I mean, this is a weird response to this. E4 Extreme, he goes on the podcast with Porter Rock and those guys from time to time. He used to come around here, and we butted heads one day. Because I felt like his tone was kind of disrespectful. He said, I'm proud to announce that the PlayStation 5 will be my last console. He says, I don't care to argue this or turn into a movement. The move to put Helldivers 2 on Xbox is absolutely vile. If PlayStation's third party, then PlayStation's dead. Yeah, you do whatever you want as a consumer. You got to make your own decisions and have your own values. I just feel like that's an enormous overreaction to a live service game coming to Xbox. That just is an extreme overreaction. Like, imagine not playing on the PlayStation 6. Imagine not playing the next God of War, the next Horizon, the next Ghost of Tsushima on the launch date because Helldivers went to Xbox. Shout out to Sony being third party. Yeah, I mean, the argument that they're going third party is just bad faith and not accurate. It's not even worth debating. Like, it's not. If you want to say 2 + 2 = 5, I mean, go ahead. You can think something that isn't true if it makes you feel better. But It's a major overreaction to a live service game coming 18 months later. Yeah. You say it when Xbox puts its games on PS5? No, my argument with Xbox turning into a third-party publisher is actually quite a bit different than that. I wasn't like, oh, they put a game on PS5, they're going third-party. It was, they literally said, we're going third-party. Like, when the CFO says, I think the biggest thing that got glossed over from the CFO's remarks late 2023 is when he said they'll be putting games on platforms that were formerly considered competitors. Like, they basically say, well, we no longer consider Nintendo and PlayStation competitors. That's them saying, we're going to function as a publisher. We're going to function as a third-party publisher. That's not the same as PlayStation saying, well, we have a live service approach where we put things on other platforms, and we have a tentpole approach with big narrative games where we put them on PC later in the hopes that they buy a PlayStation. Like, those are different strategies entirely. Sony CEO said the same thing. No, he did not. This is a false interpretation put forth by bad faith grifters. That's not true. They never once have said in a single earnings call that they are going to be putting their games on other platforms and that they're shifting into a publisher strategy. Herman Hol said recently this year 2 different times their strategy is that live service games go day and date and that big tentpole titles go later in the hopes that people buy a PlayStation. He said in their fireside that they were putting them on other places. Literally a video of it, dude. Yeah, and you're misinterpreting his remarks. Within the context of his remarks, he's making a generic remark about putting games in more places because they actually are putting games in more places. But when you drill down on the strategy, Herman Holst has explained why. So if I tell you, I'm going to park the car on the street, and you have no idea why I'm doing it, you might be like, oh yeah, you're just like that other guy that parks on the street all the time and it's really annoying. And I'd be like, oh, well, no. The reason I'm parking on the street is that we're doing construction in our garage. Like, you have to drill down on the reasoning. This sounds like shadowboxing. I don't think you know what shadowboxing is. You're just using a term that you've heard me or others use. Shadowboxing is when you argue against points nobody has made. You straw man. I'm not doing that. I'm actually arguing against the points you're making by giving the specifics of what has been stated by Herman Holst. You don't seem to understand what you're talking about. They have said we will be putting games in other places, and then Herman Holst explains the strategy behind putting them in other places. That's not the same as the CFO of Xbox saying we're putting games on platforms that were formerly considered competitors. A little pinch of astroturfing as well. Yeah, you don't know what astroturfing means. You're using phrases that you've heard me use because you think you think you understand how to argue and you don't, and now that you've lost the argument, you're just throwing out words that you think you know what they are. I think looking at the earnings calls and the shareholder calls is one of the best ways to get insight into the strategies of these companies, as opposed to like taking like one little snippet and being like, oh, that's what they're doing, they're turning third party. That's bad faith. That's disingenuous. Like if you're going to actually analyze what a company's doing, then don't just take one quote, take all the quotes. Like with Xbox, it was a Famitsu interview with Phil Spencer. It was a Wells Fargo summit where the CFO said what he said. Then it was what Satya Nadella said. Then it was what Satya Nadella said. And now you can see in their behavior that Xbox has shifted into a third-party publishing company. And PlayStation will say generically, yeah, we're putting games in more places. And then when you examine all of the commentary, Herman Holst makes it clear they're not switching into a third-party publisher. We're going to wait for a second game on Xbox to call them third-party. No, in similar fashion as I've done in the past, I have said you go to the earnings calls and the shareholders calls and you say, what are they saying about what they're doing? Are they equipping their studios for parallel development on other platforms and PC? No, they're not. Have they indicated that they're going to be doing that? No, they're not. Have they indicated that Xbox is no longer a competitor? No, they're not. They're not doing any of those things. So until they do those things, I would not conclude that they're going into a third-party publisher role. So tomorrow, if Herman Holst said, we are going to start shipping our big tentpole titles day and date on Xbox because we no longer view them as a competitor, I would say, okay, they're going into a more publisher role now. They're not making their publishing efforts central to the brand and central to the box. Do you see? You would analyze their strategies, their comments, and their behavior, which you're not doing. You're taking one comment out of context and basically misinterpreting it, which, based on your profile picture, that's on brand. You support and follow somebody who does that often. A bad faith lying grifter who constantly attacks people, calls them names, and rips their comments out of context. You know what I'm saying? Like, go text the speech, super chat him, and talk crap about me, I guess. That's probably what you're going to do, and you'll take clips from this and in the hopes of a gotcha. It's very easy to break down what these companies are doing. They speak very clearly and very plainly in their earnings calls. PlayStation has not yet signaled at all that they're going into a third-party publisher role. They've signaled rather clearly they have a multi-pronged approach to this. Live service games go day and date. Big tentpole titles go to PC later in the hopes that they will buy a PlayStation. And then when you combine that with their reports that there's somewhere between 20 to 30% of the people who have purchased a PS5 didn't have a PlayStation before, they're getting a 20 to 30% new user acquisition percentage. Their strategy seems to be working. I know that's upsetting. I know this gets you rattled in your fifis and your jimmies that, like, oh no, somebody may have played on PC and purchased a PlayStation because they really liked one of the games. I mean, a handful of people here actually did it. Just in this community alone, a handful of people actually did that. I know that's upsetting to your audience capture narrative that you guys run, that PlayStation's a scam, the Pro is overpriced, and, you know, Xbox is leading the charge. Good luck with that in the coming days, by the way. Like, I would be one of the first people to say, yep, PlayStation's changing their strategy. PlayStation's going third party if there was evidence to that. Do you have any idea how much a video like that would crush? Like, the video and the live stream would do incredibly well. But I'm not a bad faith lying grifter, so I'm not going to say it because it's not true. There's no evidence. There's not a single shred of breadcrumb, information to lead to that conclusion. A video like that would go crazy. A video like that would do incredibly well, but I'm not an opportunistic liar. I'm not going to lie to the public and say things that aren't true just because it's going to increase ad revenue and clicks on my channel. Right? Like, I would be one of the first people to do it. Like, if Herman Hol sits down in an earnings call and he outlines that and he says that, I would make that video and I would point to the facts and I would say, PlayStation's changing their strategy. And I would voice my disapproval of that. I would say, I don't think this is a good idea. I think you're going to dilute your development process. I think you're going to deprioritize your own platform. I think some of the excellence that has led to games like Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and God of War is building for one system first and then porting to other systems later. And I think this is a bad idea. I would express my disappointment in the shift, but I would report the fact that they have changed their strategy. When you're beholden to facts and not a weird sycophantic audience, you only say things that are based on evidence and facts, not weird contortionist attempts to claim PlayStation's doing the same thing Xbox is doing, because that's somehow a way to cope with the utter destruction of the Xbox brand this gen. Like, with no respect earned, it's just so pathetic to watch people do that. It's like Xbox has completely destroyed itself. Microsoft largely has destroyed Xbox. And to be like, but PlayStation 2? That's just pathetic. Number one, because it's not factually accurate. And who the frick cares? Is that a comfort? If, like, PlayStation starts publishing their games in more places, is that a comfort to you that, like, thousands of people have been laid off and games have been canceled and studios have been shuttered? PlayStation. Man, shut the frick up. Like, that would make a difference. Like, that would help anything. Oh, yeah. We can make bad faith, false equivalency, stupid arguments, and PlayStation's doing the same thing. Yeah, that's a comfort, seeing the industry shrunk and talent lost and games lost. Because you wanted to get out green pom-poms and cheer for Microsoft because your audience needed their egos stroked And because you did that, now you've got to find a way to contort yourself into a way to somehow make it about PlayStation. Well, thank God for Helldivers 2, pulling you guys out of the fire of actually having to speak about this frankly and honestly. Jiminy Christmas. But PlayStation. I wonder if that game's as fun as Perfect Dark would have been. I wonder if coming into YouTube chats on alts, farming for clips for your content, or for Twitter, or for your groups in Discord that love to hate watch. Like, is that as fun of a game as Perfect Dark would have been? Because you guys seem to enjoy that game more than actual games. The games you play, I don't know if there's achievements for those games. Are you running for the platinum? Is there a platinum trophy for how many alt accounts you can create in a day? SDO says, even Colt Eastwood said that Sony delivered this gen with hardware and software. Xbox made a mess of it. I have said for a while now, I have way more respect for the fans that have become angry and have lashed out and have gotten rid of their Xboxes or switched to PC or PlayStation. I have way more respect for that, because it's like, that's you standing up for yourself. That's you saying, man, I've got priorities and value here. I'm not getting what I was promised. Do you see? Like, I have way more respect for that than like trying to make it about PlayStation. Like, come on, boys. Like, what are we doing? Why make it about PlayStation? Even if right now, tomorrow, let's just imagine that PlayStation comes out and says, hey, we're just going to go multi-plat publishing now because, good golly, this has been an easy dunker. It wouldn't change anything with what we've talked about today. It would change things with PlayStation games for sure if you suddenly told Guerrilla and Santa Monica that they've got to develop their games for, the Xbox platform and PlayStation. It would have ramifications there for sure. It would have no ramifications on what's going on with Xbox. It would have no ramifications on what's going on with, like, studios getting closed down, with games getting canceled. It doesn't change any of that. Nintendo or PlayStation could absolutely detonate their strategies tomorrow, and talk crazy, and say they're leaving gaming. It wouldn't change anything that we've talked about today. It doesn't change any of it. It's an effort to do, like, basically red herring distraction to act like, well, they're doing the same thing or they're going the same way. And it's like, they're number one, there's no business impetus, I don't think, for either of these companies to change. And today is such a clear sign of it. Why would, in sort of the death throes and the death rattles of Xbox, would you change your strategy? Like why? Like, Helldivers coming over is certainly an interesting choice, given how poorly Xbox hardware has sold this gen. It's a very interesting choice. We'll see how it goes. Now, going forward, I would anticipate there being less and less and less impetus to do that. Because think about all the hardware discussions we've had. Think about all of the hardware discussions we've had. If Xbox goes in this direction of, like, console hybrid or things like this Asus ROG, and like what Sarah Bond said, like, we want Windows to be the biggest gaming platform, then you're going to see more and more companies motivated to be like, why would we make a version for Xbox? Wouldn't we just make a version of our game for Steam? You see? Now, when that happens, you've really got to ask yourself the question, is PlayStation going to bother porting anything to Xbox? Wouldn't they just do what they've already been doing, which is, track with me here, live service games go day and date on Steam, which would then be playable on an Asus ROG Ally X or this console hybrid, and they will port their tentpole titles to Steam later. Now, this begs that question. Well, I thought you said PlayStation would block it. I've consistently said that PlayStation will have a business interest to block a console hybrid from playing PlayStation games if it's called an Xbox console. I've also said they may, by the time this thing hits the market, decide it's not a big deal, Xbox isn't a threat. It could go either way. I don't care if somebody can turn on an Xbox console hybrid and play Returnal. That doesn't bother me in the least. I would actually be interested to know what they think. After lots of hardcore Xbox fans besmirched PlayStation games for years for being boring and samey and third-person movie games, it'd be very interesting how their opinion would suddenly change when they could play some of the greats like Tsushima and Returnal. Wouldn't bother me at all. Anybody who has ever said that, like, that would be upsetting to me, like if they've said, oh yeah, Reforge would be upset if there was an Xbox console hybrid that could play PlayStation games, this is false and untrue. I've never said that. I've always said it wouldn't bother me. I'd be okay with it. I've been in support of Helldivers going over. I've always argued that I feel that PlayStation would see it as contrary to their business strategy. That's called nuance. That's viewing things in two different ways. It's like, well, I don't care. It'd be fine by me, but I think PlayStation would analyze it from a business strategy and say, there's a device in the market called an Xbox console PC hybrid, or whatever they call it. Games hitting that are PlayStation games grates against our strategy of coaxing people over to our console with the ports. I could be wrong, and they could decide, no, we don't care. We don't care. They're not a threat. You know, if they continue to have a diminished hardware footprint, PlayStation might say that's a drop in the bucket. Those people, they might even conclude this. Those people that are still buying Xbox hardware are the most unlikely converts, so we might as well make some money off of them. I mean, I could see the business sense of that. They might just say, listen, if in 2027 you're buying a piece of Xbox hardware, you're probably never going to come over to our side of things. You are locked in there with Xbox, so we might as well make some money off of you. Like, you could argue it two different ways from the business perspective. I've always just said my gut, my prediction is they would have an issue with it. And I could obviously be wrong about that, and you could end up seeing them not attempt to block. The argument was never they will, it was they can, and I think they'll have a motivation to. If they don't, I don't think that's a win. I mean, it's a win for gamers, but I don't think it's like the console tribalism win that people think that it is. Because if PlayStation determines in 2027 that Xbox is such a non-existent threat that like they don't care that PlayStation games are playable on an Xbox console hybrid, that's not the win that you think it is. That's basically them saying, you're nothing at this point. We don't even care if people on your box can play our games. We don't even care. Why would we care about that? You're a non-entity in the market now. You're not a threat to our hardware in the least. So, it's 2 though. We probably should go to Green Room. Not being seen as a threat is certainly not a win. Yeah. They still have to buy the games too. Did the job cut stop any planned games porting to PS5? Sadly, SDO. Look at what they did to Hi-Fi Rush. Look at what they did to Hi-Fi Rush. I wouldn't be surprised if that continues to happen. Would not be surprised if that continues to happen. They get it ported over. Everything's gravy. Shut the studio down. Raven, thanks for 16 months. You guys didn't even have to go crazy with members to get an extension. You guys got all the way to 2 o'clock with me because we were ranting a little bit here at the end. Definitely stop over Dark Side Everwild. No. He's asking about games porting, Creature, like games that are already out, like Hi-Fi or Ori or stuff like that. So I'm answering the question thinking about the ports, not games that were in development. Like what they did to Hi-Fi Rush, it wouldn't surprise me if we see more of that. If we see more games like, oh, hey, we're so excited to finally bring this game over here to PlayStation, and then like a month later the studio gets shut down. And that's literally what they did to Hi-Fi. All right, if you guys want to come with us, you need to be a... Oh, we've been sub-only all day on purple. Oops. Well, I'm going to retoggle it. Oops-a-daisy. You guys on YouTube can use the link in chat to come with us to Green Room. If you're not a paying member, you can't come with us, but you can certainly upgrade to Member Plus. For $6 a month, you get an extra show every day at the end. It's called Green Room, and it supports me directly. It's basically how I do this full time. I know that's very much not like a YouTube culture thing, but it is certainly a huge, huge need for the channel. So if you love these shows and you're here every single day lurking and listening, consider doing... For the price of a cup of coffee every month, man, you get a ton of extra content, and it does support me directly. Thank you so much for being a direct supporter of the channel. You might be a Member Plus or a VIP or higher. Thank you if you've upgraded recently or a long time ago. That support is greatly appreciated. We have had a bit of a news drought, and that has dramatically shifted and changed. There's a lot going on. The layoffs are obviously a huge bummer. Seeing Helldivers come to Xbox is cool. And we'll see how that goes. I've got my thoughts and opinions on it. And we've got other things going on as well as the Anthem server shutting down. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring folks over with Redirect. Make sure